What you see, therefore, depends on the way your senses are constructed. You have certain kinds of sense organs, and these sense organs evoke the kind of universe appropriate to them. It's not necessarily the way things are, because there is no way that things are apart from their impact, or better, relationship with some kind of perceiver.
Good evening. Welcome to the Dumbits Academy.
Their impact.
This is your host, Mr. Justin. And tonight we're going to be talking about why you should never ever fuck her right away. Getting to the details of why it's always a good idea to delay. All right. Yeah, so that's where we're getting into this evening. What's up, hockey check? Nice play on words. Love that. Hello, Chris, and thank you, Uncle Guns, for posting all of my links. Appreciate you. All right, so yeah, we're going to be getting into why you should never fuck her right away. And it's largely like you guys are programmed into it, both, well, genetically, but also socially. And also, I think that a lot of coaches also encourage this behavior. And there is a way out. Like if you don't answer to your lust, right? And you're fucking, the first time you get together for a reason, right? This one time I was with this girl and we started seeing each other for a while, and I told her, I'm not here to fuck you, but you are getting fucked tonight. And it wasn't really for my pleasure. It was really to make a point. It was to make a statement. I didn't even have an orgasm that night. It was really just to make a point, like kind of like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant. Okay. Like I was there just to mark my territory. I wasn't there to have a good time or enjoy myself. Just to basically say, this is mine in one way or another. And to further drive the point home, I didn't indulge in my own pleasure. I didn't have an orgasm. So, and this was all done purposely, right? It was sex for a point, not for pleasure. So that's one way. I think that's probably the only way. I don't know what this is. You're a welly. I think that's pretty much the only way that you can have sex on the first night is if you're not doing it for pleasure. If you're trying to make a point. Yeah. Yeah, I got you, Mike. Yes. What do you got here, Iceberg? I suppose the sex right away talking point is justified by trying to vet for high interest. Why? Vetting for high interest, like you can show high interest. Like could a paraplegic have high interest in you? Right? It doesn't require one to be, doing shit with their body. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not required. So physicality is not necessary. The desire is necessary. Whether the desire is acted upon is well within your control. And that's what this is all about, right? It's all about being in control. So tonight we're going to be talking about one of the biggest rookie mistakes that I see from guys who think they're dominant. They think they're men, but they still act like desperate boys just in men's bodies. And they rush to stick it in. And you know the move, like the second she's wet or the second she shows high interest, you're already lining up like it's a race to the finish line. And so tonight I'm going to be breaking down exactly why that shit kills your value. It destroys your presence. it destroys your identity, and turns what could be a long burning fire into a quick puff of smoke. And so, first off, like, understand that this is not something about theory. Like, this is stuff that I've done. It's battlefield knowledge from years of experience, and of my own, and also coaching other men. So just know that this isn't just like theoretical frameworks, okay? And it's just going from like just having sex and being like, oh yeah, that was pretty good, to the woman begging for it to happen, begging for more. And so if you want to fuck like a king rather than a horny teenager, this is what you need to hear. So let's start with the foundation, which is basically dick value. All right. So everything in life that's handed out freely and easily becomes cheap. That's with any product. Okay. Like right now, diamonds, right? They're a rare object, or a supposedly rare object. It's difficult refining them, but if it was discovered that diamonds were in everyone's backyard, the value of diamonds would go way the fuck down. Eventually, they would become as valuable as gravel. And so the reason why something is valuable on a market is not because it has inherent value, because a diamond is just a mineral. That's all it is. It's just a mineral. But, we've culturally come to an understanding that it has value, and then that value is increased by withholding it from the market. That's all it is. And that's everything. Like, if Lamborghinis were pumped out as much as Toyotas, and the value of them, like the price of them, was dropped to the same as Toyotas, they would lose their value, right? The whole like mystique and the air around the company of Lamborghini would just be decimated. Okay. And so, basically, like water in the desert is essentially priceless. So, and water in the ocean is basically worthless. I mean, unless you're trying to drink it. So your cock is no different, right? When you slam it in the first chance you get, you're broadcasting loud and clear, this dick is abundant, it's low effort, and it's not that special. And she feels it in her body, like in her instincts, before her brain even registers this. And the thing about what I guess you might call high value dick is that it's earned. Anything that's of value is earned. Okay. I told you the story about my daughter's iPad, like when she got like generation 1 when she was, I don't know, I can't remember how old she was, but I was like, of course I could buy it for her, no problem. But I said, listen, you're going to work for it. And so we made like a list of chores, and that she was capable of doing, and each chore had a different value to it, a different dollar amount. And so the really easy ones were like a low value, and then $1 or something like that, and the higher value ones were like $4, and then there were ones in between. And so she could track and decide how fast she wanted to earn that iPad. And so she worked on it. We kept track, and she saved her money and saved and saved, and she kept checking on her balance to see how close she was. And then when she got that iPad, it was amazing to her, and she basically used it until it just fucking worn out. Like it became dusted after a while. But the point is that she worked for it, and therefore she created value by working for the thing. Okay. If I just gave it to her on Christmas, it would just be like, all right, this is that great thing that I have. Cool. Right. But the fact that she had to earn it brought her into the object. It created a connection with that object. Okay. And the same thing can be done with your presence. It can be done with your dick. It can be done with your attention. It can be done with your energy, your resources, basically everything that you have and everything that you are. So and that's the difference between, the man who makes her earn every inch of his dick versus the guy who pounds her in the first 5 minutes. Okay. She's already mentally checking out before the first thrust. Like, cause it's a done deal. It's like, it's the home run is known. Okay. And what do I tell you guys? Women thrive on anticipation. They thrive on anxiety. They thrive on tension. And it's just what gets their blood boiling, whether it's positive or negative. Okay. So like anxiety, there's positive anxiety and there's negative anxiety. but it stirs the nervous system equally. It's just the attachment and the stimuli, the perception of that stimuli is different. That's all. But once it goes, like, you kind of like remove the front end stuff, the functions that happen in the background are exactly the same. So just, know that, like, you can create positive and negative anxiety in a woman, and that's way more powerful than actually getting the thing. Okay. Like, this is something I unfortunately have to explain to many of my clients for artwork, right? Because you guys know I'm an illustrator. I've been doing book cover illustrations for like 25, 30 years, something like that. And about 20, 25 years. And so the authors, they all want to be art directors. And they're like, I want to have this like action and explosions and the robots doing this and the starfighters doing that. And they just want to have this like all out battle scene. Okay. And I have to explain to them that in storytelling, the payoff is not as much as what leads up to it or what's happened just after it. Okay. So if you see like maybe a city scene and there's like a dystopian war happening, okay, and there's tons of people, two different factions, they're fighting each other, blood going, explosions, bullets flying, that's not as grand emotionally as the tension that's felt in the same scene of the two factions just about to set it off. Okay. Or it's after the battle and you see just piles of bodies, smoke, little fires, bones, shit like that, just decimation. And there's just like one guy standing there with like holding a rifle. And you're like, what the fuck happened here? Just looking at just the image, you don't know anything about the story, whatever. And your brain's going, what the hell happened? Sorry. So that's the idea around tension, is that the idea around tension is that's what moves people, not the payoff. Okay. The payoff does not create as much tension as what builds up to it. Okay. So that's why she's mentally checking out already, like by the time everything happens. Okay. Because it's like, oh, okay, this is known. All right. So, she might have an orgasm, like biology is biology, like the sex might be good, but the afterglow is basically empty. And she doesn't feel that ownership. Okay. She feels used up. She feels discarded before the night even got started. And that's where, and that's where there's like no callbacks. You know what I'm saying? So, and even if there is a callback, if you incorporate the stuff that we're going to get into tonight, the callback is going to be hungry. It's not going to be like she won't know what to expect. And so there's already built-in anticipation. So, I've had subs tell me that, when we went slow and I made her wait, that made her feel like I owned her. And then, when the guy that she was with, like she was rushed into the situation, there was no buildup, there was no tension, there was no anticipation, that she felt like a fleshlight with a pulse. And that's the difference. It's the difference is between controlling time and tension. And so scarcity, right? Just like on the market, scarcity creates obsession. Okay. You can't create obsession with abundance. It just doesn't happen. And abundance basically creates boredom. So your cock is not a participation trophy. It's not like the Oprah Winfrey show, and it's like, you get a car and you get a car and you get a car and you get a car. Okay. It's all, it drives down the value. But if one person in the audience got a car, they'd be like, holy shit, why are they so special? Damn, they're so lucky. They got a brand new car, right? The dashboard is signed by like Oprah Winfrey or whatever, So don't treat it like a participation trophy. Treat it like the rare weapon that it is. The second point, and this one cuts a little bit deeper into manhood itself, is that being pleasure-driven is poison for a dominant man. You cannot be a dominant man and be driven by pleasure at the same time. It's impossible, because you're being dominated by pleasure, and that pleasure is possessed by the woman. All right, she can't like detach her pussy and be like, okay, you can have this for a little while. I'm gonna go watch a movie. It's connected to her. So it might as well be her. So in other words, she has control over you. How can you be dominant when a woman has control over you? And so she shows this high interest, and you're like, oh boy, here we go. Let's fuck. I'm ready. Let's go. I mean, shit. The condom's already on and my pants aren't even off. It's like, damn, you might as well just go home. You've lost already. You've lost. You've already handed her your king on the chessboard and your queen, and like you have nothing. Like you've got like a couple pawns left, and that's about it. A real dom is not chasing his own nut. He's after control. He's after her surrender. He's after the slow, delicious erosion of her resistance. And I'm not saying like, no, I don't want to have sex. No means no. It's her internal state resistance, not the front end stuff. It's dissolving that resistance until she's a shaking, dripping mess who will basically do anything just to feel you inside her. That's what a true dom is. Well, in some small aspect, okay? But that's the difference, okay? When you rush to fuck, you're admitting you're a slave to your own dick. You're letting your cock drive the session instead of your will. That's not dominance. That's weakness. True power comes from the ability to delay your own gratification while you twist hers into knots. And I tell every guy that I coach that your orgasm is the last thing that should happen in a scene, if at all. Not because you're edging her for pleasure. Okay, not because you're edging her for pleasure or for her pleasure. Fuck that like ridiculous nonsense, okay? You edge because denying yourself proves that you're the one in charge. Just like the sub that I told you about. I said, you're like, I'm not here to fuck, but you're getting fucked. To make the point, all right? So edging is important. Like I love edging, okay? It's a lot of fun, but it gives women tremendous pleasure by you bringing up to orgasm and she's almost there and you drop it back down and you get her up again and you drop it back down and you can keep this up for a fucking hour and it will drive her fucking insane. It can bring her to tears. It can bring her to anger. She will like, she'll just become a mess. Like it'll start just fragging her brain. Okay. You don't do that so that she feels good. All right. That's being more of like a pleasure top, right? That's not being a dom. All right. You're doing that because you're saying, I'm the one who's in control here. I control when this happens and what happens. And it's not about making me feel good. I mean, I suppose you can feel good about the control. Like I like that, right? The control feels better to me than the actual sex act. And when you start getting into this more, you'll start feeling that shift and you'll start feeling like you're in control when you stop chasing pleasure, when it stops having that great influence over you, because it's understood. Like I'm going to get pleasure. Like I don't have to think about it. It's happening and it's going to happen in any way that I want. So I don't really have to pay much consideration to it. So I'm going to put all of my focus on tension, timing, tempo, trust. All right. There's 4 T's, but you want tempo, timing, tension, and trust. Those 4: tempo, timing, tension, and trust. And so when you put more attention on those things, that's when you become like a fucking wizard. Like you turn into Gandalf at that point. All right. So, like I said, you edge because you're denying yourself. By doing that, you're proving who's in charge to yourself and to her. And you can feel like the ache, could be screaming inside you and you still keep her on the edge of sanity, even for another hour. All right. That's the flex. That's where you want to be. That's presence. Secondly, you prioritize, you prioritize, she needs to break for me. over I need to come now. All right. So a lot of guys, you're in the mindset of like, I gotta come. I want to get pleasure. I want to get my nut. I want to just like, the old thing, like you don't pay her to stay, you pay her to leave. Right. I want to get this done quickly. Okay. That's pornography mindset. Right. If you look at porn, everything's like within 3 minutes. Like all the videos, they're within 3 minutes. And so what you're doing when you ingest porn, like on a regular basis, is that you're training your nervous system to have short expectations and fast endings. That's what you're doing. And and you don't think you're doing much. It's kind of like any other vice, right? Just have like, some whiskey and you're like, oh yeah, it's just a whiskey. What big of a deal is it? Well, this is actually just pineapple juice. But and like, yeah, what's the big deal? And then you have another. And then you have another. Next night you have a couple more. Next night you have some more. And next thing you know, like you've got fucking cirrhosis of the liver. Do you know what I mean? So porn will do the same thing to your nervous system. Over time, you start training it little bit by little bit, and it starts expecting things. Okay. It's just like, operant conditioning or classical conditioning, same shit. Okay. So the idea is that you want to put, she needs to break for me over I must come. That's what happens. Because you have an orgasm, that's going to happen. And not out of your control, right? It'll happen when you want it to. And it doesn't have to happen right now. And in fact, I can stave this off for as long as I fucking want to. In fact, we can get to a fever pitch and I can say, you know what? I'm done now. I think you need to put your clothes on and go home. Like that's going to tell a part of your body and your nervous system, like, what the fuck? And you're like, yeah, bitch, I'm the one who's in fucking control here. And saying to her, like I've had my fun. That's all I needed. All right. Yes. Turn you into just this dripping, retarded mess. And that's all I wanted. And now you can go. Now, I wouldn't do that, right? It's just an illustration to make a point. The point that power is much greater than pleasure. Like pleasure it's low. It's like low energy. If you look at this, like if you're into chakras or anything like that, that's at the second chakra, right? The bottom one at the perineum, that's just about survival. The next one up, like right, just I think it's like around the bladder area. So they say that one's about sexual energy, right? So it's the second lowest vibrational energy. All right. I'm saying bring that shit up into here, right? And so where you can have control over your domain. Okay. When you're down there, you're bottom feeder. You have no control over your domain. Okay. You just basically control, like, I mean, if you've got good game, you can basically control like who you want to fuck, but still the fucking is controlling you. The seeking of pleasure is controlling you. And so you're not like, you're sure you can have fun. You can like own that, and that's totally fine, but you're not going to be a dominant. You're not going to be able to grab a woman's mind and just turn her into a drooling retard. It's just not going to happen. Okay. It isn't. Okay. And if it does, it's going to be more like on accident. It's going to be situational. It's not going to be something that you purposely wielded into existence. All right. So, so when you do that, when you put coming over power, you're basically handing the leash to your own biology. Okay. Real manhood is mastering that beast, not letting it yank you around the room. Okay. Like you ever see like those girls, like these little frail little things, and they've got this big ass fucking dog, and you can tell it's like the dog is walking her. You ever see that? And they're just being like tugged around. Like that's how you guys are with your lust. It's that big fucking powerful dog that's just walking you. All right. And the funny thing is that the only thing that's holding most guys back really is just access. Because if you took like the average guy, especially today's average frustrated chump, he, like if you give him abundance, he would be uncontrollable. He would be fucking everything that he could. right? And I think like even not even today's, like just like before this whole like sexual problem started, because there is like a massive problem right now. Like nobody's having sex, right? Well, not nobody, but like a large portion of people are not having sex, and the number is growing day by day. We've got a big problem in humanity right now, like really big. Uh, like it should be front page news because like our population is fucked. Like the human population is fucked. But anyways, different subject. But if you give guys, like your average guy, no matter what the time period, an abundance of pussy, they will gorge themselves, absolutely gorge themselves. And that just shows you, the level of control that they have, of like, well, actually the lack of control that they have. Women, they are they're wired to read male behavior. So this is about the signals that you're sending to her. All right. So they're wired to read male behavior. All right. And it starts at a very young age. Like female babies, they recognize faces and facial expressions like many weeks before male babies do. And it's just part of their genetic survival structure. Okay. They develop the soft skills and the soft senses. Okay. Like we're like alerted to danger in a more overt, callous way. They're more alerted towards danger in a more subtle way, and like reading vibes and reading intentions and things like that. So they're reading people and patterns and behavior and subtle cues and micro expressions on the face and shit like that. Okay, so they can pick up on these things, and it gives information to their intuition, and a lot of times their cognitive faculties to say, okay, I'm going to make a decision about this or that, right? And so they pick up on these micro cues that you don't even know you're giving off, okay? Because you're just like, oh, I'm a guy, I've got testosterone, I want to fuck, I want to put it in a hole, give me the hole, give me the hole, and so like even if you're kind of subduing that, say like guy with like nice guy disorder, and he's like, no, I'm friendly. I'm just this friendly guy. Like, yeah, sure. Like, hey, can I help you move your couch? Let me get you some flowers on the way to the shipping store to get you boxes and stuff. Let's stop over here and get you some flowers. Why? Oh, geez, because I'm just such a swell guy. Like that's not hiding it. Like her instinct knows. Her instinct knows that. Now her conscious mind might be like, oh, he's just such a great dude. Like Carl, he's just amazing. He's such a nice guy. But her instinct knows because she's not trying to fuck him. Like there's something about him that says there's something here that's off. I don't want to be filled with his sperm. I don't want to have his babies. And but I'll use him because he's like offering himself. He's like, here's my spine. You can use it as a ladder. But that doesn't turn her on. That doesn't make her want to fuck. So when you rush into penetration, this is what's unconsciously registering. Okay. It says this guy has no self-control. This man values his immediate relief over submission. This man is scared he'll lose the opportunity if he waits. And this man is average. That's basically what is saying to this woman. And women, they will fuck an average guy. They'll tolerate an average guy. They'll even marry average guys. They'll even have average guys' babies. Okay. But that's not desire. That doesn't, like, average guy does not touch her core. Okay. Like touching a woman's core on like a psychological level is like touching a woman's clit after she's already had a couple of orgasms, and it's so fucking sensitive. You just touch it just ever so gently and she's like jumping because it's so sensitive. Okay. Like that's what touching her core is like. The average man is not doing this. Okay. Because he's stuck on the surface. He's stuck on doing rather than being. And, and like the other things, he has no self-control. He values, immediate pleasure. And he's afraid of losing his opportunity with the girl. So he does all this extra shit that he thinks will solidify his position with her. Okay. He's not even thinking like, oh shit, I can have a position too, and decide whether, she is losing out on an opportunity. But that requires like actual construction. Like, sure, you can believe that, and there's many guys who do, and it helps to start with a belief and saying, listen, shout out to Steve the Dean, I'm an opportunity, not an option. Okay. You can start with that belief and it will help start to shift your internal framing. But you have to feel it. Okay. Like, you actually have to believe it, not just kind of give yourself these statements to regurgitate. All right. And that all connects down to your self-worth, right? Because you can't actually feel that and actually believe it, like feel it in the marrow of your bones, if you hate yourself, or maybe that's too strong of a word, if you're disgusted by yourself, or you don't approve of yourself. You can't do that. And so if you're doing that and you're having the self-rejection, and you're trying to control your mind to say like, no, I'm the opportunity, it comes off as a little too bold. It comes off as plastic. And you're blowing smoke up your own ass. Okay. And she will undoubtedly pick up on this eventually. Sometimes at first, sometimes not at first. But eventually she'll recognize it with enough time spent. She'll be like, this guy is fake. He's fool's gold. He's not real gold. He's cubic zirconia, not a real diamond. Okay. And, it just takes a little bit of time. Some girls, they find out immediately. And this is why girls test, right? You think like, oh, she tests, it's disrespect. Okay. Are you sure that you're a guy worth respecting when you walk around with high levels of self-rejection? Come on now. Like, it's easy to know someone who's worth respecting. Easy. You can feel it when you're near them. And it's not out of threat. Like, oh my gosh, I better respect this guy because he could rip my head off. That's fear. That's like fear-based respect, which is a form of respect. But reverence type respect, that's totally different. And that's the difference between these, two Kung Fu guys that I had in my history. Okay, my teacher and his teacher. And his teacher was a son of a bitch. Like, he was old school. He was rough. He was not. And like my teacher, he was like basically an unordained Buddhist monk. I mean, he could still rip your face off with his bare fingers. He practiced eagle claw style. And I told you the story where we were training in the park, and we were just conditioning our fingers on trees. And I looked over at him, and he's just ripping off layers of the bark and the wood with his bare fucking fingers, and like living trees, mind you. And I'm like, what the fuck is this man made of? Okay. But big, beautiful golden heart. Okay. Like wouldn't actually hurt anybody. Big smile on his face all the time. And he was the kind of guy, like when he smiles, like his eyes disappear. And unique looking dude who's like half black, half Chinese. He had like gold skin. It was the dude was crazy looking. And yeah, but his teacher was a son of a bitch. And I had respect for him because I know that he had no problem backhanding anyone for any reason that he found to be inappropriate. Like, if you're just not acting right, you're not talking right, you're not dressed right, he would have no problem just backhanding you across the face. It's like, get your shit together. My teacher would never do that. Okay. If he saw that there was need for correction, he would do it in a way that made you feel foolish, made you feel like an idiot. He would like bring you to that place where you're like, oh man, I should really change what I'm doing, and then he'd make you laugh and give you a beer. You're like, all right, let's just go train, forget about that shit. But the other guy, he would gain respect through fear. So I had the opportunity to experience both, like both the respect through reverence and the respect through fear. And there's a clear difference. Okay. And so getting respect from a woman, it's like you can create like plastic versions of it. Okay. Like you can get your money up, right? And she'll respect you from that surface level front end sort of thing. Okay. But that's not reverence. Okay. Like reverence cannot be tapped into by way of anything that you have. It's impossible. Like you could be fucking the best looking dude on the planet. Okay. best body. You could be any height you want. You could be a Bitcoin millionaire. Whatever. You could have a fleet of private jets. You know what I mean? You could have a fucking 6 yachts all fucking welded together. You know, one giant fucking monstrosity. Okay, that's gonna garner some kind of like social respect. Like, oh, look at this guy, he's like socially amazing. But that does not translate into reverence, where she's like, I must give my will to this man. I don't even want to think when I'm around him. I just want to feel, because I want to be brought into his whole universe that he has full command over. And it's not command because he's got money and he can tell people what to do. That's surface level part of your universe. Still part of your universe, but that's more on like the outer rings, okay? Like the central, like nucleus part of your universe that has everything to do with your presence. Now, if you want both, sure, like cultivate both. Lock yourself out, okay? But you must have that central presence cultivated, okay? And it cannot be cultivated by way of these external things, okay? Otherwise, DiCaprio wouldn't have been able to walk off with Jeff Bezos's girl at that party, you know? Because if you compare them, like their wealth, their amount of power in the world, shit, like DiCaprio might as well be on food stamps. Like, if you compare their wealth, if you compare their social power, like he might as well be a peon on food stamps, DiCaprio. But he literally walked up, said a little something in the girl's ear, and fucking walked off with his girl. Okay, because he has presence, and that's it. You know, like I'm sure like Bezos is the kind of guy who probably has connections, who could probably make somebody disappear without a trace. You know what I'm saying? I don't think DiCaprio does, but I would not put that past Bezos. So going back to the lecture here. So none of those attractive, or none of those lists, those 4 traits that I mentioned, they're not attractive to a woman who wants to submit. She wants to feel like she's being hunted by a predator who, you know, who can wait all night long for the perfect strike. Okay. And if, like, we know animals like this, right? There's animals in the wild that just charge after like whatever the fuck is there, you know? And then there's animals that are like tigers, right? Tigers will stalk in tall grasses so fucking slow and wait for the right moment to pounce. And you know, and then there's other animals. They're just like, oh, I see food, I'm going to chase after that motherfucker and just wear it down until it runs out of breath. And then that's it, you know? You know, I guess like that's how like cheetahs have to operate. Okay. But they're geared for chasing, right? The tiger, it stalks. All right. So she wants to feel like she's being hunted by a predator who can wait all night long, right? For that perfect strike. You know, but rushing when you do this, it screams it's like prey animal in heat, right? It kills the predator prey polarity that makes the electrifying crackle that happens in BDSM, in power dynamics. Okay. Like you don't want to go from predator and have her see you as a prey that's in heat. Like you don't want to be the thing that's in heat. You want her to be the thing that's in heat, right? So like, and like the way to do that is to distance yourself from pleasure. It doesn't mean throw it out the window. It just means distance yourself from it. Okay. So I've seen this a lot. Okay. Guy rushes in minute 3, right? He comes once, the scene ends, and 2 weeks later, she's not feeling it anymore. And the reason is because her nervous system never got the message that this man is dangerous in the best way, that he can hold back, calculate, and strike when he damn well pleases. Delayed penetration tells her the opposite. Like it tells her the opposite of rushing. Like he owns time itself. He owns her body. He owns when this happens. And that message sinks into her bones and turns her into putty for months. Like she'll remember that. Okay. And the funny thing is that she's not remembering the dick. She's not remembering the fucking. Okay. She's remembering how you but just like the whole you made her feel. And like I was talking with a client tonight about this, like about how um about like he's interacting with a girl, and I was just laying out this whole notion of like how he can deal with these things and drive submission, like you're driving a fucking car. um like it was blowing his mind, like how how you could calculate and orchestrate these sort of things, right, where she gets turned on by a certain something. Actually, we were talking about like where she was bratting and then basically saying like, okay, well, like drop your pants, right? Because you're getting a spanking. I'm like distilling it. There was a lot more than that, and then she goes over the knee, and then she's like, if she's like, I don't want to do that, and then she's like, okay, see you later. You can leave. If you don't want to take the correction, then you can just go. But if she wants to take the correction, give her the spanking and like making her say the infraction, what she's not going to do anymore. And with the last 3 to 5 strikes, and then now she's got all these emotions flooded. Her adrenaline's up. There's a little bit of maybe some slight disdain for you. There's some little bit of like feeling indignant. And now you say, take off your panties. Okay. But she's also a little turned on, right? Because you took control. All right. But not in a grasping sort of way. It's basically saying like, this is what's happening. If you don't agree to it, that's fine, but you can leave. All right. I'm not going to force you to do this, but if you're going to, this is what's happening. And then I said, have her take off her panties and then tell her to get on the couch, like spread her legs. And no, you don't jump into the sex. You start playing with her. You start toying with her. No fingers inside. Okay. You make the inside portions of her nervous system and those nerves like begging for that, begging to have those inner walls stimulated. And you're just toying with the outside. Just keep toying and playing and toying and playing until she's fucking a mess. Right. And you bring that to her attention. Well, it looks like somebody wants to get fucked. Right. Look at you. Look at this mess. Like show it to her. I think you should check yourself and have her like, put her fingers right. And then make her clean them. Say, now clean them. Clean up that mess with your mouth. And then make her admit that she wants to get fucked. Make her admit it over and over. Make her say, please. Say, no, not good enough. Say, please. Not good enough. And then I told him, stand up. Have her get on her knees. Tell her, get on her knees. Try again. Please, not good enough. Take my dick out. Like you don't take it out. You tell her to take it out without dropping your pants. Just undo the fly. Okay, you're still fully clothed. She now is naked. All right. Like during the time you were messing around, you ever take off her top. So now she's fully naked, exposed, turned on. Her butt is sore. And now she's begging, practically begging, not really begging, to get fucked. And say, no, take it out. Good. Right. Now put it in your mouth and ask again. Now she's got this mouthful of dick. She sounds completely retarded. And she's begging for sex. You said, not good enough. Rub your pussy for me. Keep rubbing it. Keep my dick in your mouth and ask again. And then if you want to really drive it further, you tell her, you're like, okay, you sound fucking pathetic. All right, get up. Get on the bed and bend over. Hold yourself open for me with both hands, face down. And she'll be so fucking ready for that, And then when you get there, you don't drive all the way in. You don't. All right. You just fucking tease her at the hole. Tease with like the head of your dick sliding up and down, just teasing until she's like pushing back. Right. And then you can decide to like slowly push it on. Don't go all the way in, just slowly, like the slowest entry you possibly could muster. Okay. So you're all the way in. And then if you really wanted to push it any further, like you grab her by the hair, yank it back and listen, go into her ear, but like nice and low. It's like, you better not fucking come until I tell you. Like it made her fucking mind explode. It'll make her mind explode. All right. And then you can go ahead and, fuck her however. All right. And if you really wanted to, just monitor her body And you know, when you can tell she's like close to orgasm, whether you're controlling it or not, right when she's about to, then you tell her to come. Like, I mean, you're not gonna have control of it because you didn't like condition her body and her mind to do that, but it'll still leave an impact. Okay, so that's just a little bit of psychological game for you. So delayed penetration, like I said, it tells her the opposite. He owns time itself. He owns her body. Sorry, he owns when this happens, and that sinks into her bones. And she'll remember, like that scenario that I just described, that I told my client that he should do. Like she, if he does that, she's going to remember that for a very long time. Like that's definitely going in the spank bank. And it's not going to be like, oh, he fucked me so good. Not between her legs. It's going to be, he fucked my brain so good without it, with barely even touching me until like the very end. Right. So that's way more impactful to be like, oh my gosh, let's get it in. Let's get it in. Let's, you know, I just need my nut. It's like, oh my gosh, you're primitive. You know, like you're missing out on such fucking high level fucking that doesn't even involve your dick, that will turn her into like a religious acolyte. So fourth, okay, moving on. And this is where like a lot of guys they completely miss the most important stuff. And that is what I described in that scenario, is that controlling tempo stretches sexual novelty and keeps the spark alive. Okay. So that's either within like a short-lived fuck buddy or a relationship or even a marriage. Okay. Most vanilla couples, they create a dead bedroom after 2 years. And that's because, like most relationships, they rush straight into fucking every single time. Same sequence after they get into their habit: kiss, grope, finger, suck, fuck. And that's it. That's basically the pattern. Boring, predictable. And the brain stops releasing dopamine because there's no uncertainty left. So when you master tempo, even missionary becomes a mind fuck. Like what I just described, like I could have, instead of saying, you know, instead of saying like get on your knees and bend over, I could have said get on your back and spread your legs. It would have the same impact, might even have more, you know, depending on the shape of your dick, actually. So like if you're the kind of guy who has like a massive like upward curve, a beneficial position is anything where you guys are at like a 90 degree. Okay, because what that does is it puts pressure on her G spot. Okay, and then the one that's further back, what is that called? The A spot. Okay, so the G spot is closer, right? It's like 2 inches in, and like on the posterior wall, the front wall of her body. Then if you go a little bit deeper, okay, and you can't really reach this with your fingers, right? Unless you've got like really long fucking like 7 foot tall basketball player fingers, but you know, but you can with a dick, right? So it's a couple inches deeper than the G spot, and that's the A spot, and it's right near the cervix, right? So if you've noticed, like if you've like penetrated deeply, you can feel the cervix, and it feels like another like head of a dick, right? It's like a rounded fleshy thing that's like kind of stiff. All right. And so what happens like when a woman's aroused is that the cervix actually pulls back. Okay. And the area around it, like around like where like the second half of your dick is, the flesh around there, it actually opens up. Okay. And this is where a lot of guys, they start thinking, oh, this woman's loose. Okay. Actually, when a woman gets aroused, her pussy gets more lubricated, and it opens up. And because her body's like, oh, I want to accept dick. I want to accept sperm. I want to accept, semen. And so everything like opens up. The cervix backs up. The vaginal walls open up. Everything lubricates, and there's less friction. Even with like girls who have not had any dick, like this will happen. Okay. Like it's like tight pussy, when she's like really aroused, doesn't actually exist. like only maybe right at the beginning. But after she's gone through like a full arousal cycle, and her shit's like way opened up. Like it's the friction is reduced dramatically. But the A spot is along like the top edge of the cervix, but on the flesh above it. All right. But if you're curious about this stuff, like just look at some anatomy diagrams, maybe some like cameras. You can see some photographs of like where the cervix is, what's actually inside a body, and you can see where that A spot is. But that one also produces really intense and interesting orgasms for her. So, like I said, when you master tempo, even missionary becomes a mindfuck, right? Because literally it doesn't matter what you do. What you do is all mental, and the physical things you do just simply amplify that or anchor it, right? So missionary is like basically boring, okay? But like that can be an anchor. There's a physical anchor for all the psychological and emotional stuff that you've been doing. And so, like I said, like if you've got a dick that curves up, you've got those things happening, the psychological, the emotional, plus you're optimizing your physiology to be pushing against her, the G spot and the A spot. So like I was mentioning before, you spend like 15 minutes just like teasing her body, teasing her clit, teasing her lips, teasing the perineum, which is like the area of flesh that's between her vagina and her anus, and pressing right there. There's actually like a large set of nerves. In the Chinese acupressure, they call it the Huyin cavity. And this set of nerves, like when pressed on during orgasm, both with men and women, it increases the orgasmic strength, like the physical strength of the orgasm. I don't know how it works, but it fucking works. But you can stimulate that as a means of teasing, like by pressure. Okay. And you actually have to kind of like press it kind of firmly because the flesh there is fairly thick. All right. Like obviously, like it has to be, or else she'll be like split open. But yeah, so like firm pressure. So if you're like playing with one hand, like on her clit, and then pushing on that, like just giving steady pressure. You don't have to like massage it, just steady pressure with like your thumb, while your other hand is like, say, playing with her clit. Or if you're into oral, you can be doing that. But the whole idea is that you're increasing the tension by increasing the tease. Okay. And you pay attention to her body, her arousal, and you don't let her get very close to orgasm. You can do this with the head of your dick as well, all right? But never entering, right? Just sliding, pressing, pulling back, and so on and so on. And you watch her hips buck like a desperate animal eventually. And eventually she's going to want to pull you into her. Like all of her instincts are like, get inside me, right? And you're like, no, I will do that when I want it to happen. Until then, you're just going to suffer. And you listen to basically her turn into this, like the whimpering that she's doing, the whimpering and the mewing, right? It turns into begging. Sometimes it can turn into tears. Sometimes it can turn into like tears begging. Sometimes it can turn into anger begging. Like they can get like aggressive with it. So she's like, you can transform her, right? By showing her how much you are in control. So then when you finally slide in one slow inch at a time, it hits her nervous system like the first time she's ever been fucked. Because you built up so much anticipation, kind of like when she was having sex earlier in her life, right? And the reason why is because it feels earned. Like you've kind of like recreated somewhat that feeling by making her earn this. And by stimulating her nervous system, like the whole nervous system plus her emotions, you can drive it even further by the way you were communicating. Like I was in my example, right? By calling attention to what's happening to her, right? Instead of being like, "Oh, you're so hot, you're so pretty," right? Like you put attention on how much she's getting aroused, how embarrassing that must be. Or you can just tell her how sexy that is. But I've got a little bit of a sadistic nature, so I like to bring some embarrassment into the arousal because it's like you're exposed. You're not in control here. Your body is betraying you, that sort of thing. You're just here for the ride. Well, like I'm pulling the levers of your body. You're not in control. Granted, she could always snap in and be like, you know what, I'm done here. I don't want to do this and just grab her shit and leave, of course. But in the moment, while she's allowing it to happen, basically she's lost the steering wheel and it's in my hands now. So and so it feels earned, like all that arousal, the dick that goes into her, it feels earned because the anticipation rewired her brain. And this works even harder in kink, right? So you can like edge her for an hour with toys, with rope, with impact play, whatever. Okay. And you bring her to the brink of orgasm 6, 7, 8, 9 times, right? And rip it away. By the time you decide to fuck her, her pussy is pulsing like a heartbeat and her mind is completely broken. Like she will not be able to think. All right. And I purposely play with this again because I like to play with my food in that I'll ask her questions and then I didn't quite get that. And she just sounds like she's like incoherent. Okay. What? I didn't get that. And sometimes a slap to like change the awareness. So now that sharp feeling in the face brings them out, and now there's this new sensation of like a quick shot of adrenaline from like the sharp shocking pain. And now she's in this whole other state, and now she realizes like, oh, like he asked me a question, I don't know what, I don't even know what to say. Now she's all fucking discombobulated, okay, while still being at a very high level of arousal, right? So and so through all this stuff, by the time she has an orgasm, by the time she finally gets one, it's fucking nuclear. It's like a nuclear bomb going off. And the memory of that nuclear release stays with her for weeks, maybe even months. And it's not gonna be like, oh, he fucked me so good. Oh, his dick is so good. It's just be like, he is so good. Right? Like there's a difference. Like imagine like these two lovers, and she's like, lover A, she's like, oh, his dick was so good. And then lover B, she's like, he was so good. There's a distinct difference between those two. Okay. A is not bad, but he's not B. It's like he is so good. And when they get that, what they're basically saying is he gets it. He knows what to do. He can read me. He can feel me, and just like uh, magically make the marionette strings appear. And that's when they feel like they're out of control, but not dangerously out of control. It's like, oh, I'm out of control, but he's in control. So I can let go, and I can let him wield the experience, and I don't have to keep a side eye and like watch what the fuck is gonna happen because I want to be in control. Like, no, she's let go of control because I trust that he's got it, that he knows what he's doing. He's showing me over and over in the very minute details. Like when we first met, he had this air about him, the way he talked, the way he carried himself, the way I felt around him. It started that seed. Like, I think this guy knows what he's doing. And then, like, as you progress, you continue to communicate, you continue to physically interact. It's just reinforced over and over and over that it's like, yes, this is that guy. He's that guy that you think he is. And then it gets confirmed. And then she's like, holy shit, he's the guy that that I think he is. And so it was him that created such a tremendous experience. Now, I say this with a caveat. You cannot go into this with the desire to do what I just described. Because again, you're being led. Now it's not pleasure that you're chasing ego fulfillment. I get to feel like I'm him. I get to polish my fingernails on my shirt and feel like the man because now I've pleasured this woman so much and she's praising me, and that makes me feel so good and so manly. And I get to mock all the other dudes, be like, haha, I can do that, I'm guy B and you're just fucking guy A, right? You've lost again. You might as well just hand her your king, because you fucked yourself again, right? It cannot be done with your ego present either, because that's just as bad as fucking for pleasure. So you can't be led by lust, and you also can't be led by ego. Like, sure, you can have great experiences with both. Like, you can be led by pleasure and have great experiences. You can be led by ego, have great experiences, but you won't be a fucking dominant. You can cosplay as a dominant. You can tell people you're a dominant. You can even do dominant things, okay? But if your ego is involved, you're not a dominant. You're being dominated. You're being dominated by an invisible force. You can fuck like crazy, be driven by pleasure. All these women love getting your dick. You can do all the dommy things. You got yourself a whole collection of floggers. You've got a profile on FetLife, and the description there says like, I'm a dom, but you're submissive to pleasure. And that's the truth of it. Like, nothing can own you except not even your principles, codes, and rules. They don't own you. That's something that you set and that you choose to follow because that's just the right thing to do for you. That's what your constitution says. So you can't be led by anything. And so, the things that I describe, they're amazing, but they cannot have an impact on yourself. It cannot mean something. That's what it is. It can't have meaning. It can't say, I'm special. I'm better than other guys. I'm more meaningful. She thinks I'm meaningful because I can do all these things. No, you're nothing. Like, that's the real seat of the dominant is, I'm nothing. I'm not special. I'm just a guy. I'm just a man. And there's no specialness about it. But it has an impact, right? But you just can't, you can't savor the impact, right? You have to just kind of let it rest in your palm, right? Appreciate, but never grasp. And it again, like, it's easier said than done, right? But it's a practice. It's something you develop over time. Seriously, I was not like this, 20 years ago. Absolutely not. All right. 28 years old. I was definitely pleasure driven. Okay. But I didn't have anybody telling me this shit. It took me years to come to this understanding with myself. Years of experimenting, paying attention, reading stuff, coming to revelations, smacking my head into the wall. Okay. I didn't get like mentors having to do with any of this stuff until much later in my life, to my late 30s. Okay. So, like, I'm helping you guys come to better conclusions faster than I did. Okay. And most of my conclusions were brought about by my own experiences. And having the teachers that I eventually had, they kind of reaffirmed they reaffirmed the conclusions that I'd come across on my own, or that I've come to on my own. Certainly they also taught me other things, but like all the stuff that I was doing up to them, that stuff was affirmed. And it's like, okay, cool. But the point of, like, one of the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing here is to help you establish an understanding of things so that you don't have to bang your head as much as I did, that you don't have to tread the long path that I did. Things would have been a lot easier, a lot better if I had a teacher along all those ways, like this specific kind of teachers. I've always had teachers, but like this stuff, oh my gosh, like it's so funny. Like, you guys have it so good, so fucking good. When I'm coming up, I didn't have I didn't have the internet. I couldn't just fucking discover information within seconds of having the question, have the answers like that. And now you guys fucking have AI. Like, not just Google where you have to like read articles, go into forums, go onto this website, that website, hope that your fucking search pulls up the thing, and maybe that source has like a decent amount of SEO that puts you on the front page of Google so that you're highly likely to find it. But if they don't, but it's still valuable information, that shit's going to be on page 6. And most people don't flip through to page 6 on Google. They take the first fucking page, like basically the first third of the first page on Google, right? So it's like, you guys have it so fucking good. So good. All right. Granted, there's a flip side to that, because when there's an overabundance of information and there's contradictory information, it becomes information overload, and then you don't know what the fuck to do. But the point is that you have tons of information at your fingertips that you can access within seconds. And I didn't have that. Like, there was very few like literature on these sort of things. Like, I was studying like anatomy when I was in middle school. I found a book in my attic. It was my mother's. And it was one of those books about like female sexual health. It was like, my mom was like a hippie and stuff like that. And it was just full of anatomy, all these pictures, diagrams and photographs from autopsies and stuff. So I know what it looks like a vagina that's been like split open. You can see everything that's been opened by the layers with a scalpel. Like, so I was like studying this sort of stuff like with books that I just came across in my attic. No one was like, hey, here, read this, you know. I found all kinds of like old like literature, these like playbill. It was called playbill, but it was these little booklets. They're probably worth a lot now. But they were made by Playboy magazine, and there were these little stories, right? And like on the cover, it'd be like some, suggestive image on the cover. And then the whole story was, like just like some sort of sexual tryst. It was not very long. I don't know, maybe like 20 pages long, small book, very thin, almost a pamphlet. And, I was reading these, right? And getting the feet wet of my brain in that way. But again, it was through discovery, because my family, they were like pack rats with like antiques and vintage stuff. They just kept in boxes and boxes all up in my attic. So when I was bored, because we didn't have like fucking internet, and we had like 4 or 5 channels on our TV. It was like channel U, 2, 3, 4. I think that was about it. I didn't have cable. So it was like, I would get bored and just go into my attic and start just rummaging around in the boxes and shit and pulling out like old cool shit. And so I came across this, and that's when I came across Hermann Hesse's book called Siddhartha. And that's when I was like, oh, what the fuck is this like Siddhartha shit? I started reading about Buddhism. So but you guys, you got it so fucking good, right? So much information just right there. There was no such thing as a coach, right? A mentor for masculinity and manhood. Are you kidding? Or if during that time, say like, 80s, 90s or whatever, if I wanted to learn about BDSM, if I was a young man in like the 80s and 90s, wanted to learn about BDSM, it would be near impossible. Like, I wouldn't even know the first place to look. Like, where do you go? They're not in the phone book, Like, we had phone books back then, big fucking things, white pages, yellow pages. They're not in the phone book. Like, how do you find out about that stuff? Where like sex clubs, where's dungeons? Like, who's anybody you can even talk to get details about it? Right? Now there's like tons of books out there, videos, instructional courses, mentors, coaches, dungeons that have fucking websites, sex clubs that have websites. Like, they even have cruises for this stuff. They've got getaways where it's like the whole thing is like this like BDSM getaway for couples. And it's so funny that this generation is the most sexually liberated, has the most access to sexuality, like just in general, yet is the generation that's having the least amount of sex. Go figure. The irony of the universe. So Getting back to the lecture here, I've had some married subs, because I do work with couples, tell me that after 2 years of this styling of basically controlling tempo and controlling tension, they would say, missionary with my husband used to feel routine, and now he controls the pace like you taught him. I feel like I'm being taken for the first time basically every time. And that's the power of stretched novelty. Okay, because typically what happens, like people will get together, they do all the things, and then there's nothing to go from there. Nothing. Like, you've done all the things. It's like, okay, I was reading this article on Substack, this brilliant psychologist, and he was talking about this sort of thing, this like delayed novelty, and he mentioned Hugh Hefner, right? And Hugh Hefner, he's probably done fucking everything you can possibly think of. And there was somebody talking to him, or the psychologist guy was talking with him, and he was like, yeah, like basically, like, what gets me off now, like at this point in time, is like at the time they were talking, was like watching a woman getting fucked by a dog. Like, he had to go to like bizarre stuff. Okay. And that's what happens when novelty wears off. Like when I was a kid, it's like, oh my gosh, you see a magazine with like bare breasts. It's like, holy shit, like the Sears catalog that would come through once a month. And there's like that section where it's like the pretty girl models wearing lingerie. That was like, whoa, holy crap. You go back, some decades, a woman showing her ankle, like dudes lose their fucking mind, and then that novelty wears off as you are conditioned to it, and there's this real phenomenon where guys are consuming porn, consuming to where, like, just watching a guy fuck a girl is no longer satisfying. Like, he has to be fisting her. He has to be fucking her with a dildo that has like a diameter of like 6 inches. Okay. Like this big around. It has to be a gangbang. It has to be like a gangbang with midgets. It has to be really extreme, vinyl stuff, or a girl getting shocked with something up her ass. Like, it has to be these extreme stuff, because the nervous system is just like, that's an old hat. And it gets conditioned. It's like, whatever. And so you keep searching for that high. And that's what happens with repeated porn use, is that you get conditioned to one level of stimuli and no longer gets you off. And then you need to reach deeper and deeper and deeper into the weirder and weirder stuff. Okay. I knew a guy that had gone so far, he started looking at snuff films to get aroused. Okay. Not that he was like into it, but he was so used to even the extreme sexual acts that didn't excite him anymore. It didn't arouse him anymore. He had to watch something that was so extreme that's what would allow him to feel pleasure. Okay. That's a real phenomenon, right? It's called anhedonia. So, and this is what happens when you quickly consume all novelty very quickly, all at once, right? And and that's a problem, because this is what, like, a lot of people do. Like, they do all the things like very quickly, right away, and then there's like, how do you enjoy anything else? Like, you bring her all the way up here with all the fucking cool shit, right? It's like, where do you go from there? You gotta ration these things out, okay? And the only way to really ration things out in a skillful and graceful way is to have control of your lust, right? There's no pent up, like, oh my gosh, I can't hold back. I got to do this thing. I got to move, right? Like, you're like the Tasmanian devil, right? No, you got to be more like Bugs Bunny. You got to be chill. Like in that episode when Bugs Bunny is like, he's a cowboy and he has to fight like Yosemite Sam, and he's just like leaned up against the bar. His hat is tilted way down low. And somebody's like, are you the sheriff around here? Like, Yosemite Sam comes in shooting his guns and shit like that. And Bugs, he's got like a toothpick in his mouth, and he's just like, yep. And like like his whole body doesn't move, but just his lips. He's just like, yep. And you can't see his eyes. His hat's pulled way down. Like you got to be like that. Like you got to like ration things out. You got to be chill. You got to be controlled. You have to be like deliberate, right? And this is how you can like having that controlled, deliberate timing. That's how you can take the mundane and turn it into something powerful. Okay. Like I was talking with this new sub, and I just told her to sit up straight. And so like we were talking, and she told me, like, I said, well, what are you doing? She gave me a description of what was going on. And she was on her couch, and I knew, like, just young girl on her couch with a phone. I know she was just like kicked back, right? And I said, I know you're not sitting properly. Sit up straight. And the way I said it, like in the voice note, like I know that it had an effect. I know it. And all it was just the tone in my voice and just saying sit up straight. And, there's a number of factors, right? Like she's young, like I'm older, like she knows I'm a dominant. So there's like this projected idea of things, and she has a perceptions, beliefs around that, which carries some emotion and belief. And then, then easy arousal comes through that. But so it's not just like magic words or whatever. There are like real reasons there. But the point is that you don't have to do anything special. Okay. Like when you carry yourself with presence, you don't have to do anything special. Like you can literally just tell the girl to sit up straight and her pussy jumps. And that's just how things work. Like you don't have to come out the fucking closet with like, all the gear and all the bells and whistles and, charging around and saying all the things. Like you don't have to do that. Right. Because it starts with your presence. So, and what that does is it basically, you turn the same bed, the same four walls, the same basic sexual stuff into an endless drug, because it's not the things that you're interacting with, the things that you have, or the things that you're using. That's the potency. It's you, like you, your mind, and your voice. That's where the potency is, not the stuff that you're doing or the stuff that you have. Okay. And that goes back to like the story that I told about the I was interviewed on this guy's show. He does a kink friendly podcast, like an audio podcast. And he interviewed me, and he was telling me that he used to bring like a bunch of stuff to play parties. He was a very social guy. Like I don't do this thing. Like I don't go to dungeons. I don't go to play parties. Like I'm not really into the scene. I've never been into any kind of scene, regardless of what I was into. And so he used to bring all kinds of stuff. But as he progressed, like through his manhood, through his domination, his path in BDSM, he eventually just started going with himself and basically his favorite little paddle, and that's it. And because he like came to the realization that it was him, that it was the magic, kind of like in Kung Fu Panda, the first one, and where Tai Lung, he was trying to get the scroll. I must have the scroll. And like they're fighting at the end, and he finally gets it. Po has had his ass kicked, and he's like, yes. And Tai Lung, he opens the scroll, opens it up, and it's just this reflective gold material. And he's like, what? And he's like, turn it over back, like, what? And he's like, you don't get it. He's like, the answer is you, right? That's what Po was saying. He's like, there is no secret technique, because that's what he was after. He's like, if I learn the secret special technique that's on this secret scroll, then I'm going to be the baddest ass Kung Fu warrior that was ever in the land, right? I'll be unstoppable. And that's been like the myth, right? But the lesson is that there is no secret lesson. There is no secret technique, right? It's you. You're the secret ingredient. And like Tai Lung just couldn't get it. Like his ego could not understand that. It didn't want to understand. It's like, no, there has to be a technique that I can learn that'll make me the guy. It's like, no. You are the guy already. He's been inside you this entire time. You just never bothered to look. So let me give you some practical tools to make some of this real. All right. So there's the 30-minute minimum rule. So from the moment clothes come off, whether it's just all of hers or both of yours, you do not penetrate for at least 30 minutes. Use that time to build layers. Okay. Putting attention and intensity on eye contact, light bondage, right? And light bondage could be just using your hands. It could be using a necktie. I would veer away from using rope unless you've taken some classes, you understand how to use rope, because it is complicated. You can damage blood vessels, you can damage nerves, like permanently. So, like, don't fuck around with rope until you've done research and practiced and that sort of thing. But you can use a necktie, you can use your hands, you can use leather cuffs. I really like those because I really enjoy the smell of leather. They come in all kinds of different colors. If you want to go that route, I suggest looking on Etsy, and just look for leather BDSM, sorry, cuffs, right? And you can get a set. So you can get like a set of like ankle cuffs, wrist cuffs, and they'll even throw in a collar. And so you can have like this 5-piece set. Sometimes they make larger sets with like different harnesses and things like that. It's all leather. Just make sure it's not PU leather unless that's your thing. Like you need to have like vegan leather. I like cow skin leather. But yeah, so you can use leather cuffs, hands, necktie, piece of silk, ribbon, as long as it's thick ribbon or wide ribbon. So you can use that time to like build layers with the eye contact, light bondage, slow teasing, teasing, for example, like let's say she's got really sensitive nipples. You know this about her. Like, and some women, they can actually be brought to orgasm just through breast stimulation. And so let's say that she loves having her nipples stimulated, sucked on, bitten, flicked, pinched, caressed, whatever. And you spend all this time around her breasts, but purposely avoiding touching her nipples, simply because you know that that's what she likes. So you keep teasing and teasing and teasing. Okay. Perhaps if she's into degradation, okay, you can add verbal degradation. Again, like making note of how aroused she's becoming and making her feel embarrassed about it. Right. God, you look so fucking pathetic right now. Look what a fucking mess you're making of my bed. You should be ashamed of yourself. How slutty you are right now. Like, and it can go further and further and further. Like, it can get really, really degrading depending on her tolerance for it. Some people have a very high tolerance, low tolerance, or no tolerance. Okay. So you should find out prior, like if she's into that sort of thing, because if they're not and you go for it, then, it can really kill the mood. I've been there. So just whatever fits the people involved. Okay. And you should time it. Right. So like watch the clock, just make note of the time and the 30 minutes. And like your dick is going to hate you, right? You're the urge to penetrate. Like, I get it. Like, I'm a man. I know the urge. The urge is like, punch a fucking hole in this woman. Right. I get that. Okay. But your dick's going to hate you, but your dominance and your sense of self is going to thank you. So that's the first one, the 30-minute rule. All right. The second one is like the head only tease. Okay. So like after you're about to penetrate, spend a full 10 minutes just rubbing the head of your dick against the entrance of her pussy and rubbing on her clit. Now, I wouldn't say don't just robotically sit there for 10 minutes, just like, like you're painting a fence. Okay. That's not what I mean. Incorporate other things. Like I said, like the other stuff, the eye contacts, verbal domination, verbal degradation, light bondage, things like that, teasing. If she's into a bit of pain, you can incorporate that. If she's into a lot of pain, you can incorporate that. But the point is, that's dressing up the central thing where you're delaying penetration and you're teasing the entrance, right? Making her want it more and more and more. And with these other things you're doing, you're just increasing the intensity, which puts focus on that part that's not happening. Okay. So no thrusting, right? No entering, just pressure and denial. All right. I mean, in the sound she makes in those 10 minutes, they'll be burned into your memory forever. And if you really, Like if you really wanted to cause torture, like you get her to like that stage. You're imagining right now, right? Like what I was describing, which again just shows you the power of words. All right. You get her to that point and you say, and you stop and you say, you know what? I've changed my mind. She'll like the look of like pain, dread, disappointment, fear, like being forlorn, it will just wash over her. What? yeah, I think I've changed my mind. Right? No, please don't go. Right? She will be like scrambling after you. Okay, practically falling out of the bed or the floor or the couch or wherever the hell you are. No, please don't go. Right? Oh, I don't know. I'll think about it. Why should I stay and fuck you? What? Why? What? Yeah, tell me. You know what? Get up on the bed, right? Lean back, right? Sit up, lean back, right? Good. Spread your legs. All right, now play with your pussy and tell me why I should fuck you. What? Do it or I'm leaving. That will like completely fry her brain. Completely fry her brain. Convince me. Come on, sell it. Sell it to me. Come on, I know you can do it, but keep playing. And if you don't do it well enough, I'm giving you a vibrator. And then you won't be able to talk very well. So get it right the first time. She'll be a complete melted mess. Okay? She'll be able to just do whatever you want. Say whatever you want. Right? As long as you just like give her the dick. So the third one here is the 1-inch game. Okay, so when you do enter her one slow inch at a time. All right. So you go in one inch and then you pull out completely and then repeat. Okay. Do this for a few minutes, like 10, 15 minutes. Okay. By the time you finally give her everything, she's going to be sobbing with gratitude. All right. And on that point, right, when you like finally go into her and like, you know, like when you go in, like you can actually like kind of like shift your hips and like push and like go even further. That's when that point when you can make strong eye contact. Don't move. Don't like go in and like, okay, let's just start fucking. No. You do like the in and out. So the teasing a little bit and you pull back. And she's like pulling, getting desperate at this point. Then you finally just slowly and deliberately go in, not like ramming, slowly and deliberate going in. Pull her. All right. Watch your breath go, right? And she'll do that. You look her right in the eyes and say, what do you say? Like with dead seriousness, you don't move. Right? You're just pressed like deep into her. And you say, what do you say? And if she answers properly, she'll say, thank you. Right? And you say, good girl. And then you can start fucking. If she's like, what? And you look at her again and you say, what do you say when someone gives you something that you want? And like the fact that you can have this sort of like detached, rational, commanding phrasing in the middle of sex, which is like going to be such a stark contrast to the state that she's in. Like that alone is going to have arousal and power thrown into it like immensely. All right. And now you're putting her in the state that's like sort of like infantilizing her, right? Because that's like what parents and grandparents would say. Like, you know, like grandma gives you a present. You're like, ooh, where are you know, and your mom like nudges you or your dad nudges you and you say like, hey, you know, what do you say? What are you supposed to say? Oh yeah, thanks grandma. Thanks grandma. Right? Like we have that shit burned into our brain of like, we know that phrase. What do you say? And it's the tone, right? What do you say? And it's like how you talk with a kid. So it's a slight infantilizing, kind of like reverting her momentarily, you know, back to that stage. And she'll remember, oh, thank you. That's right. Good girl. Don't forget it. And now you're going to get fucked. Right. And now if you want to fucking pile drive her, right? Oh my gosh, she's going to be a fucking mess of gratitude, embarrassment. You can just start putting shit in her head, making her say things like it she's gonna be done. She's gonna be done. She's gonna be fucking like overcooked cream of wheat, right? All right, so that's the 1-inch game, right? Enter, back out, enter, back out. All right, fourth one, all right, is orgasm control. All right, this is the ultimate tempo weapon. All right, you never let her come until you decide on the exact moment. Right. And this takes practice, like because like every girl kind of has their own tells, like in gambling. All right. Um, they have their tells of like when they're about to erupt. And they're all different. So like it might take you a little bit unless you just, you're sensitive and you can just read people's body language very well. I mean, it's not like a huge mystery, but like if you're just not paying attention, you won't see it. But just pay attention, right? And you can see when she's about to have an orgasm and you want to back off slightly. If you go over into the area, like the orgasm zone, and then back off, what's going to happen is a ruined orgasm. And you know what a ruined orgasm feels like, right? I mean, I think like most people have experienced a ruined orgasm where you step into the orgasm zone, and instead of rocketing off, it just kind of peters out. Right? Just like a candle being snuffed by like a glass dome being put on. It just goes, zzz, and you're like, what the fuck? You know, it's a huge letdown, right? So you don't want to get into that because when that happens, unless she's into that kind of torture, right? Like ruined orgasm torture, like that's a thing. Um, then that what it's going to do is pull her emotions with it and like her state and everything. It's going to deflate everything. So pay attention. All right. It's better to back off too soon than too late. All right. So just know that when it comes to orgasm control. So so never let her come until you decide the right moment, right? When you want her to. And that could happen after 5 tries, 6 tries, 10 tries. All right. But the point is that when you want it, not when her body wants it. Right. So only when you want it. And this single skill, this is something that definitely separates males from men. Okay. Males, they're like, oh, I want to make her come. I want her to believe that I'm the guy that makes her come. No, no, no. I want her to believe that I'm the guy that makes her come when I want her to, if at all. Like that's way more impactful. Way more impactful. Like males are trying to make her come. I'm making her understand that she does it when I want her to. Like these are 2 totally different fucking neighborhoods. Totally different neighborhoods. One has tremendous respect. The other one is just enjoyed. Okay. I don't want her to just enjoy me. Like that's going to happen anyways. You know what I'm saying? So it's a huge separator. I mean, if you're into this sort of, like the whole mogging other males, like if you're into that whole thing, like I need to compete with males and show off that I'm like this, like if that's what your ego does, knock yourself out. So number 5, all right, this is aftercare, right? So the scene doesn't end when you come, right? The mental dominance continues. And so that slow controlled fuck leaves her, well, it can leave her in subspace for hours. And subspace is this whole other thing. Like it's shallow. This type of subspace that we're talking about is fairly shallow or like mid grade. When it goes when it goes deeper, right? When it goes like subterranean, right? She actually becomes incoherent. She becomes non-responsive, almost like she's having like an out-of-body experience or like slipping into like a mild coma. It's a weird thing when you see a girl who's deep into subspace because you think that she's dead or she's dying, and she's not. Totally breathing. It's just her consciousness is somewhere else, and it's been pushed into that space by way of like high levels of pain and pleasure, like all those biochemicals just flooding the fucking brain, and the brain goes clip, and it just shuts the fuck off. Except for like basic functions like heartbeat, breathing, that sort of stuff. And that point is like very dangerous actually, because if you continue on, she's not going to be in any position to use a safe word or even a safe signal, right? So if a girl goes into that deep subspace, you have to be even more on point. Okay, you have to be very aware of subtle things. Okay, um, like her heart, like her pulse, like her breathing rate, like that sort of stuff. You gotta like make sure like she's not, going off into dangerous dangerous places. Okay, by way of what you're doing, not because she's in subspace. Um, but a lot of people, you're not going to worry about that for a while. But just understand that the fifth one here about aftercare, the scene doesn't end when you have an orgasm. Okay, you have to use your domination, but now in a different context. Okay, you just like degraded her. You just used her. You just brought her into such a state of trust and embarrassment and vulnerability and feeling it- more cherished as you've spit on her face and told her what a beautiful slut she is. Um, into these very like extreme polarizing places that's like so sexy but so raunchy and so degrading and um or whatever it is. Maybe there's high praise, maybe she's got a praise kink and there's lots of praise, but that's still going to send her off. Now you have to do things to take that energy by way of your domination but in a different form, bring her back down to earth. Okay, let her all those brain chemicals subside. And what can happen sometimes is like what goes up must come down. There's what's known as sub drop. Okay, where it drops below the par level, and she might feel completely drained. Well, she probably will feel completely drained. um the like pain will start registering. Okay, because adrenaline, when it's firing, like you don't feel the pain as much. Okay, but once the adrenaline leaves the bloodstream, it's like, oh shit, right? Those nerves are coming back on. And so you got to do things to kind of like help her feel better, help her feel emotionally comforted, like because part of her mind is like, holy shit, I just let somebody do that to me. Like, yeah, I trust him, yes, I like him, but I still let it happen. Like he treated me like I don't even know what to say, you know? So there's like her rational mind, her judging mind, all the minds are coming back online. And so there's gonna be a whole bunch of like different things she's feeling, thinking, and experiencing physically, emotional feeling, physical feeling, and psychological states. So you got to bring her back down. You got to bring her down to earth. I've got like a rabbit's pelt that I've like folded. It was, comes in a strip, right, when you buy rabbit pelts. And so I folded it and then stitched the sides and basically made like a thumbless oven mitt with this. And so I use this during aftercare, sometimes like beforehand as well as part of like foreplay, but mostly after aftercare, and just use to like stroke her body. And if you've ever felt rabbit's fur, it's so fucking soft. Okay. So that's nice for like stimulating those nerves, but in a very gentle way. Having like soft microfiber blankets, because the microfibers can get really soft, because sometimes their temperature drops. Sometimes they get really, really hot. Okay. And so you might want to have a little fan around. Maybe they like to drink tea. Maybe they need a bath. Okay. Um, Maybe they need chocolate. I usually keep chocolate around. I think it's good, like in your home, if you're having like girls come over having like intense experiences, get yourself some really good quality, not fucking Hershey bars or something. Like you might have to like order it or like go find like a chocolatier in your city or wherever and get some quality chocolate, like dark chocolate, maybe like 70% or something like that. And it's got like flavonoids in it and all this stuff, but it's also got caffeine, and caffeine is a stimulant, right? So it can help you feel a little bit better. And then also, chocolate is the only food on the planet that stimulates the entire tongue all at once, right? Like steak is great, but it doesn't stimulate, like the sour part of your tongue or the bitter part of your tongue. So like ice cream is great, but it only stimulates like this and that. Chocolate, on the other hand, stimulates the entire tongue from one food source. So what that does, with like endorphins in the brain, some like a different form of dopamine. Okay. So get yourself some of that chocolate, keep it in your refrigerator. And you can like break off some and feed it to her. So like tea, juices, like whatever's gonna like make her feel better, feel comforted, bring her body back online. Fresh sliced oranges, these sort of things. Okay. And some guys might look at this and be like, oh man, like such fucking simp behavior. Like, oh, you look pandering. It's not pandering. It's take like if I don't know if anyone's done like motocross, right? Like if you've done like motocross, you beat the shit out of that bike. Okay. You beat the fucking piss out of it. And when you bring it home, it looks like it's been through a fucking war. And what do? You get out the hose, the pump sprayer for the soap. You soap that shit down. You spray off all the mud. You clean the chain. You get all the fucking mud off the spokes and the tires and the body work. Sometimes you have to get into the engine because a lot of like say like two-stroke bikes, like they have very high service intervals. So you might have to get in there and do a little bit of like maintenance service work. You know, Maybe you need to change the brake pads, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to like take care of the thing that you just fucking flogged for the past 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? And that creates like a complete experience. Like there's a big difference between the guy who invites her in, gives her an extreme experience, and then says, okay, I've called you an Uber. You can go now. Right. And he's like, turns on the game and like that's it, versus the same thing, but instead of calling her an Uber, she's brought into this whole other world where it's like, yes, I can destroy, but I can also care. I care for my bits. I care for the things that I have used, that I've utilized. And so this is and so you want to have like the complete picture, and that's what this does. You want to have it's like a full suite sort of experience, but it's not just like, oh, I'm catering to this. It's like, no, this is the right thing to do. This is what I do. And it's important because that leaves a very, very serious impression. Like the whole experience is a serious impression. Okay. It's not just like, oh, he's got good dick. It's like, my entire experience of this man, like, in bedroom anyways, was transformative. It was beyond just like getting good dick. It was beyond that. It was an entire experience. And again, it's not like I'm doing this so that she can say, haha, like, or so she can be like, oh, wow, I had this great experience. And my ego's like, ha, like, I'm so wonderful. That's not it at all. That's not the fucking point, right? It's just the right thing to do. Just like when you go ripping on your bike in the woods, you have to clean it. Like, I mean, you don't have to, but it's good practice to clean your bike after you've been ripping in the woods for a while or all afternoon. Okay. So it's not like I'm doing that for praise. When I get back to the garage, my buddies are there and they're like, oh, wow, Justin, you're such a great guy because you take care of your bike. Like, you're awesome. You're not doing it for the accolades. Like, you're doing it because that's the right thing to do, right? You take care of the thing that you just fucking destroyed. If you want to keep playing with that bike, you have to take care of it. If you don't, it breaks and then you're bikeless. You don't get to have that kind of fun. So just do the aftercare, right? Your dominance will thank you for it. She'll thank you for it. She'll be like, holy fuck. And like, she's not going to want to brag to her friends. She will not want to, because she's going to want to keep you a secret. She's going to keep you a secret away from her friends because she's like, I don't want my girlfriends to know what this man is capable of in terms of creating experience. He's going to be my little secret gem that I'm going to try to keep to myself. Right? At least when it comes to my friends. Of course, like, can't stop me from talking to other girls, but on her end, she's going to stop this information from leaking out. And so like, because like a lot of guys, they want the accolades, right? Their ego wants her to boast about how wants to boast about how good he is, and it's like that's no good. Like I want her to have such a fucking great experience that she tells no one, nobody. She's like, no, fuck that. Like I'm keeping this under wraps, man. So when it comes to aftercare, it's helpful to have a number of things on hand, like nice smelling bath salts, or like the oils that you can put in the bath, have like, scented candles, have chocolate, like I said, have like a microfiber blanket. What else? Arnica cream. Okay. So arnica is this natural, like plant-based pain reliever, right? It's a topical pain reliever. It comes in gel and it comes in cream forms. I prefer, like, gels get kind of sticky, but I prefer the cream. So you can get arnica. The real name is Arnica montana. That's like the scientific name of the plant. But it's called arnica cream. You can get on Amazon. And so if any parts of her body are sore, you can massage that gently into her skin, and that'll help, like, kind of, it doesn't make the pain go away, but it like takes the edge off, right? It's like that level of pain management. Maybe if she needs like Tylenol or Advil, right? Ibuprofen, whatever, like have some of that on hand. Make sure she's not allergic to any of that stuff first. Let's see, soft music, like if she likes meditation music, she likes classical, she likes jazz, maybe she likes silence. Okay. Maybe she just doesn't want to talk. Maybe she wants to talk, you can have a review, like say like, hey, like tell me about how that felt. Tell me about your experience with that. How did that feel? Like physically, emotionally, right? And it's like, this is like the sort of thing like it puts you in the position of being, if you care about this sort of thing, but it puts you in the position of being perceived as an authority, as a professional almost. Like someone who like cares about the craft, instead of just like, I want to get a nut off. Well, do you see the difference? Like all this shit we're talking about, then I just want to get a nut. It's just two completely different universes. Now, there's nothing wrong with just being like, what? Fuck all that shit. I just want to get a nut. Okay, cool. But do not be blasphemous and consider yourself a dom, because you're not. And that's fine. Like, you don't have to. You don't have to at all. If you're like, hey, you know what? I'm just a regular dude. I just want to fuck, come, and then go home. That's it. I don't care about all this shit. Like, fuck it. Don't care. Too complicated. Don't care. Perfectly fine. Man can live his life however he wishes. Okay. That's what I want. I want honesty. So if you're not like this, don't try to be like this if that's not in your nature. Okay. It's best to live honestly. Like what's true to your nature. Okay. What's true to my nature is I like playing with my food. Like I get aroused by playing with my food. That's just how I am. I like that more than actually eating. That's just how I'm wired. Okay. And same with my bikes. Like my brother, my oldest brother, he rides. Actually, me and both my two older brothers ride, but the one who's the oldest, he's like obsessed. And he got me into motorcycling. And he will fucking ride all day long, every fucking day. Okay. And he's like, what? How many years older than me? I think he's like 8 years older than me. So even at his age, he's like, I will fucking ride all day, every day. Okay. Me, I will tinker. I will get such enjoyment of like taking my fucking bike apart completely, cleaning shit, fixing shit, replacing parts, putting it back together, trying different things out. Like I will spend an entire day, I'll spend days in the garage versus days riding. I like riding, sure, but the tinkering and shit, like planning out, like I don't know, the seeing the whole thing, like that's just, it's just what gets me, right? But again, it's like I know my nature. Like I was part of this like community garage where you like pay monthly fee and you have access to all these fucking tools and shit. That was like a dream come true when that place started. Just hanging out with guys, like taking apart bikes and fixing them and, modifying shit and all sorts of things. Like that was like heaven on earth for me. Okay. Other guys, the riding club is the heaven on earth for them. So the point is that like know what you are and don't try to be something that you're not. Like if you're not the guy who wants to just bang him and leave him, then don't try to be that guy. Okay. Like, despite like whatever somebody says, right? That like, oh, this is how like you should just like, this is what you should do. Okay. None of this, of what I said, is this is what you should do. If this resonates with you, if this is something that like you're like, yeah, that sounds fucking cool. Like I get that. All right. I want to get that. Then this could possibly be the path for you. Okay. But other people are going to hear this and be like, that sounds fucking complicated and a waste of time. Okay. I don't need all that. Just, I'm going to fuck for a few minutes and then be done with it. Like, women aren't that important. Right. And I can agree. They're not. But this just has a different angle on the same perspective. But so, but if that's natural to you, do that. But if that's not natural to you, don't do that. Don't feel pressured into like, oh my gosh, like only men, like real men, just like, just get a nut and then like put these women in Ubers. No, I mean, only if that's your genuine, authentic self. If that's genuinely how you are comfortable, right? But don't feel like you have to do that or this or anything else that is like, okay, this, now you're a man. Okay. Like this is how men are. There isn't. Like when it comes to sex, like you determine it. You determine how you want your bedroom to operate. Okay. It could be bells and whistles. It can be complicated. It can be simple. It can be short. It can be long. It can be exciting. It can be dull. Like it's really up to you. Okay. As long as it's authentic. That's all I want for you. That's all I want. Is I just want authentic men. All right. And you can't get there unless you're honest with yourself. You can't get anywhere within manhood, like not just sexuality, without being honest with yourself. You have to be honest because that's what with the client I was talking with this evening. He brought up an old analogy of mine, and where I always say, like, in order to know where you're going, you have to know where you are first. And it's like, you and me were flown in on a helicopter, dropped into the middle of the woods, like deep in fucking Canadian woods. And they're like, okay, this is a map of this area. Okay, it's like 10 kilometers in all directions. And I say, okay, take me here. And I point to a place on the map. Okay. You're not going to know where to go. You're not going to know how to get to that point. And the reason why is because you don't know where we are on the map. So you can't know where you want to go until you know where you are. Okay. We could be an hour hike from that spot, or we could be, a couple days hike from that spot. Right. Well, 10 kilometers is not that long, but let's say it's like 100-kilometer radius. So it could be long or short, depending on where we are. And where you are as it relates, because that's just an analogy, is the state of where you're at. What's your current condition, namely like how you feel about yourself and what you know of yourself. And I'm saying what you really know of yourself, not the stuff that you absorbed from your childhood that your parents told you, not the things you adopted from the religion that you were not asked if you wanted to go to, but you were told to go into, not the stuff that you were force-fed in school, not the stuff that the government like coerces into your mind, not the stuff that you learn through media, social media, advertising, and all other kinds of bullshit. Like what's stuff that you've determined as your own? Okay. Like that's determining your state. Okay. How you feel about yourself. that's determining your state. And is how you feel about yourself critical? Is it rejecting? You don't want to be who you are. You want to be somebody else. Um, that all that information, and like including like what you believe in. But again, is that adopted or is that chosen? Or was it just massaged into your psyche against you, without your consent, right? So the point is that to know where you are is also to know what you are. Okay, know who you are to yourself. Okay, what do I mean to myself? And if there's like any portion that's pushing away, saying like, I don't like this, I don't approve, I wish this was different, I hate this, I hate that, that is that's basically like putting distance away from your actual location on the map. Like so if you're like looking at top down of view of a map and you imagine there's like this circle, like a ring, a red ring, and the more accurate you know of the location, the smaller that ring gets. Okay. And that's like measured in like say feet. Okay. So that, and then the less accurate, right? That ring is bigger. Now that it could be a 10-foot ring. It's like, well, we generally know that we're here. Okay. Or it could be a 3-foot ring. And that's the difference between having a good handle on who you are in the moment. Okay. It doesn't mean you're staying that way forever. Okay. But you have to have like an honest understanding and assessment of who you are currently. And how much, like, what of it is authentic? What of it is chosen? What do you actually agree with that you've learned? How do you feel about yourself? And the amount of honesty there and clarity there is what makes that circle smaller. Okay. It doesn't mean that what that is there is correct. Okay. We haven't gotten there yet. Okay. We haven't determined those things just yet. But you have to have like a good knowledge and understanding of what you are right now, instead of pushing away. Because again, that pushing away prevents the knowledge. Okay. Suck it up. Just be cool with it for a little while. All right. You can change it, but you have to have knowledge. Yeah, you like, and if you come to a conclusion like, man, you know what? I'm a fucking piece of shit. You know what? I have a problem with lying. I really can't control myself when it comes to this, when it comes to that. Like, I've got a lot of anger towards my dad, or like, I fucking hate my mom, or this terrible thing happened to me, this, and this time in my life. I hate this person. I hate myself. I wish that this, I wish that that about myself. Um, judgment, criticism, right? All like these are things that you have to accept of like, okay, this is the current state, right? Um, because that's the only way like real change happens. Okay. You can't change and like not acknowledge what is. That's why when you hire like say like a you ever see those shows? I think like Gordon Ramsay was had one of those shows where it's like I think it was called Kitchen Nightmares. Okay. And what did he do? He walked in and he observed. He looked at everything. He looked at how things were moving. He looked at the decor. He looked at the wait staff, and then like, of course, the food, the quality of the food, how it was being cooked, how it was being served, all this stuff. He was looking at all the functions. Okay. And then if he really wanted to get into things, he would do an audit of how the business is structured on the back end. Okay. Are they in serious debt? What's their cash flow rate look like? Are they paying off their debts? Like so that's what you have to do. Like, to be a successful auditor like Gordon, like to really change. And then on top of it, he has to like look at the psychology of the people who are running the place. Right. So he needs to get the clearest, most like unobstructed view of what that restaurant is before he says, okay, these couple things you're doing okay, this is good, but this and this and this needs to get the fuck out. You need to change this now, or this place is going to go up in flames, and you're going to owe this person and that bank a fuck ton of money, and you're going to be kicked out on the street. You need to get your shit together. Okay, but you can't say you need to get your shit together without actually knowing what that shit specifically is. Does that make sense? And if you're hiding, if your emotions like, "Ooh, that hurts. Ooh, I don't want to look at that." Like, do you like if the business owner was like, "Oh, Gordon, you're being too harsh. I don't want to look at that." No, 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 you can't look at my books. That's too embarrassing. Gonna be like, "All right, you know what? Fuck you then. Fuck you then. Enjoy." Because you're not gonna grow. So if you're afraid of the audit, if you're afraid of looking in the fucking mirror without like obstructing parts, be like, no, 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 I don't. Okay, I'll look in the mirror like this. Right? No, you have to be naked in front of yourself. Yeah, it's kind of scary. All right. That's why there's people like me, like mentors, coaches, therapists, right? Who are there to kind of like, okay, I got you. Right. We're here to kind of suss out some of this stuff together. You got to do it, but I'm here. Right. You're fine. But you can't do this. Like you can't do this while also fooling yourself at the same time. It's just not going to work. And you have an advantage too, because the vast majority of people, especially today, with how social media is completely like butt fucking your psyche right now, completely butt fucking your psyche and convincing you that it feels good. um, you're you're getting brainwashed to stay on the surface. So if you are someone who's submerging and being like, you know what, that dark ocean down there, like, and those scenes always fucking freak me out. Like in those movies, where you see like the underwater person like walking to the edge of like the San Andreas Fault or whatever, and just there's black abyss in front of them and down, and it's like that sort of shit like freaks me out. Um, but that's where you got to go. Everybody else are like, no, 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 we're going up to the surface. We're going to party and we're going to pretend. We're gonna create all these cosplays, create these symbols that convince other people that I'm manly, right? And that's what they're all doing. They're kind of like projecting masculinity at each other. Like, no, 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 I'm more manly than you. I'm more manly than you. Like, and they're just mogging each other, right? With the effect of like, okay, like I'm gonna try to become like more authoritative by perception. I'm gonna be more aggressive. I'm gonna look more this way. I'm gonna fucking hit my face with a hammer, to get like that jawline. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, in order to not like really like show women, because women don't give a fuck about that stuff. Okay, it's men against men. It's really the same. Like, I'm a more formidable looking man than you are. Okay. Um, but the thing is, like, if you look at like men from past, if you saw like my grandfather, big fucking dude. Okay. I remember as a little kid, he would like just crush a walnut in between his thumb and forefinger, just snap that shit. I'm like, what? Like, of course, like I was a little kid and he has like these monstrous, like working man's hands. Like his finger had like muscles in them. And it just snap. And but it's like the like masculinity is just a performance today. If that's all it is. It's a complete performance. Because when you say, you know what, I'm not going to go up onto the surface, I'm going to just like step off that cliff, right? That underwater cliff, and just float down into the fucking, it's getting darker and darker and darker and colder and darker and colder. And I'm alone. Like, nobody's fucking doing this. No one's holding my hand. Well, I mean, if you like are a mentor, coach, therapist, like they can kind of help you sometimes during that journey, but most of the time it's just you. Most of the time it's just you. You're on your own. There's no one competing for the spotlight. There are no lights. There's no one giving you applause. There's no one patting you on the back. There's no accolades. There's no prizes. But you know what's down there? Down there is your throne. That's where your throne actually is. It's not high up on a fucking mountaintop in the sunshine with glistening gold and pillars. It really isn't. the true throne of a man is down in the darkness. That's where it's constructed. It's actually unearthed, like an archaeologist, an underwater archaeologist. That's where your throne actually is. It's in the darkness. And that's where you become so fucking comfortable in the darkness, like Batman. Like he's not afraid of the darkness anymore. He's like, wait, what did Bane say? It's like, you were born in the darkness. I am the darkness, or something like that. With a stupid Bane voice. What was that Bane quote? I gotta look it up now. He said, you think you think darkness is your ally. You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man. By then, it was nothing to me but blinding. And so it's kind of like that, So it's like these guys are like they've adopted manhood, right? They're like, oh, let me like do the things, let me create the symbols. Okay. No, it's all shit that comes from being down in the darkness and being like reborn from it, right? Born from the darkness. Now, this is fucking real shit. Like, this is, people are like, oh man, like, let's see what he has to say about like not fucking her right away. But the funny thing is like, this is all connected, right? Because this is what frees you from being controlled by anything, really. If I mean, except for like impulses that you need, like, food and drink, shelter, air, that sort of stuff. But like impulses, there's no control. No control of you. Women, no control. And it's not like there's a chip on your shoulder or you have disdain for girls or anything of that matter. They become completely neutralized. Surely you can recognize aesthetic form, nice full round tits, a small waist, round hips, a bouncy full ass, like, beautiful hair, nice skin tone, big pretty eyes, like whatever, whatever you like, you know what I'm saying? Like you still have the ability to recognize aesthetics, okay? But it no longer emotionally moves you, no longer pulls you in any one direction because you've neutralized the effect of women. You've become immune to whatever the hell they've got going on. Shit. I went on a huge fucking tangent. So, basically I was talking about like, the rest of the lecture is basically just about like delaying fucking, long game benefits of delayed penetration. Basically because like she starts chasing you. Okay. You're not chasing for the pussy. She starts texting you during the day, like, because this is like the after effects. Okay. Like she just got hit by a fucking Mack truck. All right. Like her mind. Okay. And, she starts offering more. Right. She starts offering more. She starts open because you just cracked her open. Like, when the kids say like, oh, it cracked, like, no. This is real cracking. This is real cracking, like cracking open her fucking mind. All right. Fuck about it. Any girl can open their legs. Okay. But can you split her mind down the middle? So that's when she's like wanting to offer herself. She almost has no choice at that point. All right. Deeper submission, filthier acts, because she knows the reward is going to be cataclysmic. Like the more she realizes that, like, the more I offer myself, the greater the experience. And the rushing, on the other hand, it trains her to expect average. Controlling tempo trains her to crave your specific flavor and timing of dominance as if it was crack. And this can turn into wanting sex only once in a while to her basically begging for it all the time. And the big difference is that guys, they stopped fucking like it was the last chance that they're ever going to have and started fucking like they owned tomorrow. They owned next week. They owned next year. Okay. And the thing is, like, about holding back is that when you do this, you're reinforcing your own masculine core. You're proving to yourself that you are bigger than your urges, and that's the same muscle you use when life tries to break you outside the bedroom, when life puts on its stresses. The man who can edge a woman for 2 hours without coming is the same man who can stare down a business deal, a confrontation, or any other pressure without folding. Okay. Like, think about, like, you don't fold on all these other things, but you fold for pussy. Well, why? Be consistent. you know, be consistent along, like, in all areas. Delayed fucking, it builds unbreakable presence. Okay. Rushing will erode your presence. It shows you, like, oh, this guy is needy. He needs me. Women love men who don't need them. They almost, like, kind of, they love guys who kind of don't like them very much. Okay. Not in, like, a serious disdain sort of way, but like almost like a like a cute annoyance. And they don't want you to like them too much. They want you to, like them a little bit and not like them a little bit. But genuinely. And when you become neutral to them, this is easily seen, right? But not with a chip on your shoulder again. So I want you to do an experiment this week, and, or next week or whenever, like next time you're, like, with a girl. Okay. Next time you play with a girl, make note of the time and delay things. Okay. Delay entering her pussy. Like, increase the time that you're doing foreplay. All right. Create that tension. Don't rush. Don't treat the foreplay as though it's a chore. Okay. Get into observing her arousal cues. Get into tease and denial, making her want it more and more and more. Okay. And give yourself like 30, maybe even 45 minutes before she's actually being penetrated by your dick. All right. Again, pushing for that thank you, right? After she gets what she wants, what do you say? Just know that your dick is it's a weapon. Okay. And not in the way that's portrayed in society, like, men are bad. Okay. Just to know that, like, your dick is a true weapon. It's not like a firecracker that just pop and, like, it's done. Okay. Weapons are controlled. Weapons are patient. Weapons strike at the moment and like at the perfect moment, and then leave the target changed forever. Whether it's a fucking sword or a sniper rifle or even like a bazooka, right? You must also change your thinking from going from a charging barbarian into a patient assassin. They're both, like, effective, but one's a little bit more sophisticated than the other. Doesn't mean, like, the barbarian is worse, but I'm saying if you want a handle on these sort of things, you have to stop thinking like a barbarian and think more like an assassin. Okay. They're both formidable, both useful, but, if you want to like master timing, tension, and arousal, you have to be more like an assassin, a very patient assassin. Stop throwing away what you have in, like, the first 5 minutes as if it's cheap candy, and start making her earn every single thrust of your dick. Every single thrust. Start owning the tempo, and you basically start owning time itself. Do that, and you won't just fuck her. You'll ruin her if you're into this sort of competitive thing with males, but you'll ruin her for every other man who still thinks that pounding her hard and fast is the move. You will ruin, like, you hear, like, in the red pill communities is, like, what do they say? Like, alpha widowing. Okay. This is that. But see, because, like, nobody ever really explains that shit, do they? Like, what actually occurs with alpha widowing? They think it's a big dick. They think it's a really good looking guy. They think it's a muscly dude, right? With, like, all the special angles and points on the face that make her go, ooh, ah. No, no, no. Okay. What actually, like, so-called alpha widows a woman is this sort of stuff. It's the sort of stuff that cleaves her mind in half. and then basically wrecks her body as a result. That's the difference between a dom who gets laid and a dom who gets worshipped. This is the difference. It's understanding that the ruining of her, which actually is a unearthing and a rebirth of her, actually, um, comes through the control of tempo and the control of desire and the control of tension. So just keep this in mind, okay? And this will make you, like, the more prowess you have over sexuality, the more prowess you have of sexuality, right? More prowess you have over your sexuality, you become a master of sexuality. If you're just in it for the pleasure, well, you're just another one of the people on the ride, okay? I want to not only control the ride, but design the ride. And that's the difference. Like, so you want to be a patron who rides the fucking roller coaster, or do you want to fucking build one? You know what I'm saying? I want to build that motherfucker. That's much more interesting, much more complex, and in my opinion, more enjoyable than just like wee throwing your arms up and that sort of thing. Like that's not real enjoyment. I mean, sure it is, but it's like short lived, right? It's just like a big explosion of feelings and your brain and all this stuff, biochemicals, and in a few minutes it's done. You know, but it's like the guy or the team of people who built the fucking roller coaster, right? That whole process of going from nothing to something, and then having people ride and enjoy and have their experiences and memories and stuff, like that's fucking powerful. Like you're leaving mark, okay? You're not leaving much of a mark by being, what are you gonna be, like the best roller coaster rider in the world? That doesn't exist. So when you're like this, you're basically a passenger to your own pleasure. Like that's, I mean, it's fine, right? But it's just not very. You'll find, if you're the type who can get out of the average of 5 to 8 sexual partners in a lifetime, because that's the average for most men. Okay, even you're like the so-called players are out there, like it's just statistically impossible. Okay, they're like every dude fucking knocks them down. Nope, nope, it's impossible. 5 to 8 is the average. But if you're able to like kind of come out of that, like you'll find that it's not very fulfilling. It really, really isn't. Like pussy is not that fulfilling, but a woman's mind, holy shit. Like getting in there, oh my gosh. Like people like talk about like, oh, pussy, great pussy, great pussy. Like pussy's all the same, okay? But their minds are all fucking different. And this is why I know that the red pill guys have zero fucking experience with women, or very little, when they say shit like, all women are like that. Fuck, they're not. Well, to some degree, but there's like levels to it, you know? And so the way I play, it's like the same stimuli isn't going to, or the same lever pulls are not going to be the same from girl to girl. Like at a very basic level, for example, like telling a girl, like giving her praise, like saying good girl. On some, they're just like, oh, okay, that's nice. But other girls, it fucking melts them. Okay. Why? Because their psychology is wired in such a way that praise has become a kink for them. So it turns them on way more. Like it makes them like visibly wet just hearing those words. And you think, oh man, that's impossible. No, that's how kinks work. So, but others, they don't have that kink. They're just like, yeah, the current, that's nice, right? So, like, I find that incredibly interesting to be, looking into the woman's mind. Like, it's far more intricate and it's far more variables than just her body alone. And it's like, guys, they want to find like the quick like user-friendly map that can be applied to all girls, not because they want to lead them, because they just want to stick their pee-pee in the holes. And that's it. And it's like, there's no wonder that most women don't experience orgasms. It's no wonder that women initiate breakups and divorces like far greater than men do. And because most dudes are fucking morons that are completely pleasure driven and therefore obvious, predictable, and controllable. What's there to respect? Even if he looks good, even if he has a lot of money, even if he's well known. If she knows that shit about you, it's really, really hard to respect. Like maybe respect on a surface level, right? Because like other men maybe respect him because he does this or he has that. But we're talking about worship. We're talking about reverence. We're talking about kneeling from the heart, not just in performance. Like I wouldn't know who I am without you in my life, sir. Like that doesn't come about from things that you build in the world. Doesn't happen. It comes from building from the depths, building from the darkness, the cold fucking darkness, building there. Because that's something that cannot ever be contested. It cannot be dismantled. It can't be taken apart. It can't be challenged. It becomes truth. And it's like girls and other men, they can pick up on this. I don't know if you've ever experienced a man who it's like you just know, you know, it's like fucking hell, this dude is solid. And he's not trying to boast, he's not showing off, he's as grounded as the ground itself. I've only met a couple of guys who are like this, just a couple. And the rest is performance or obviously being a loser, obviously being scared, obviously being afraid of himself. Like that's most dudes. Like they're either scared or showboating, trying to cope, trying to compensate, trying to hide. Very few guys are able to just stand with bare feet on the earth, you know. And it's just the path is not. It's not a communal path. It's not a crowded path. It's really fucking sparse. You'll be utterly alone. But the thing is that if you keep going, keep working, just keep working the plan, you will find that you're in the best fucking company ever. Like the real reason why you get lonely is because you reject yourself. I mean, really, since there's only one you and you can't be somebody else, despite, trying really hard, you're stuck with yourself until you die. It's probably in your best interest to make yourself comfortable, make peace with where you are, get to know it on a very intimate level. That means not hiding, not explaining, not justifying, not throwing smoke screen in front of your own face and calling it something else. Right? That's what I mean by having that kind of intimacy with yourself. Intimacy with yourself comes about through honesty, no judgment, acceptance, and things like that. And that's the first stages of bringing about a consciousness that is whole. And you'll find that everything changes a little bit. Nothing changes, but everything changes. It's a weird paradox like that. Girls don't change, but they all fucking change. And as you go along this path, you will find yourself more and more isolated. And I don't mean from society. You can still interact with society, but more and more isolated from other males. Like as you come deeper and more in focus with your manhood, as you continue to construct that throne of self in the darkness, and as it becomes more and more and more comfortable, because you're no longer threatened by anything found within yourself. You realize that you can no longer relate. All my guys, eventually they come to a point where they're like, holy fuck, I see so much of myself that I see so much in others, and I cannot relate anymore. Because after seeing, I've just been developing. And that's what it is. They're like, I can barely have conversation with dudes because, you're out with your boys. Eventually, the girlfriend comes up. Eventually, the wife comes up. And after, being with me for, a couple of months, they're able to see and hear differently, mainly because they're seeing and hearing themselves differently. So then when they're seeing other men, they're like, holy shit, like I used to talk like that. I used to think of women that way. I used to think of myself that way, feeling so powerless, so out of control, so out of touch, just kind of like floating along, trying my best to just kind of have some kind of consistent finger hold on something. And, now that they have that finger hold much more, feeling grounded, right, with the feet, not just the fingertips, they're just like, man, I cannot relate to any of that turmoil. Like I hear you, but I don't understand you. And and some of them got into trouble where they've opened some of that information to their buddies, and the buddies would there's two reactions. One is either getting highly confused by helping them understand what they've learned through me, or they get incredibly offended and they start aggressively pushing back because in sharing some of these things, it's even just a sliver of truth can be too painful to really ingest, right? And so there's a defensive offense that happens there. So it's either confusion or like aggressive defending themselves or aggressively defending themselves. And so they're like, you know what? I'm just not even going to bother. I'm just going to be like, yep, I know what you mean. It just have to just agree. And these are friends. These are old friends you've known since high school, since college, that sort of thing. Talking about work, life, women, children. And it's just like, I can't, I don't get it. I don't relate anymore. And that's part of also feeling alone, is that even some of your closest people, you speak the language, but it doesn't mean the same thing anymore. And because the meaning has changed, the listener has changed, the speaker has changed. So then the language has changed as far as not as function, but the meaning. And so you're not able to connect in the same way. And then you'll find that really the only people that you can connect with are other men, but other men are few and far between. But when you do come across them, it's like, I don't know, coming across a kindred spirit. You don't really have to say much. That's the really cool part about it. It's just like, and that's it. There's no having to explain anything, show anything, be anything. I don't know. It's an interesting experience, but there's no and there's no performance. There's no butting of heads. There's no friction. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting experience, but like I said, it's not rare, and it doesn't really matter because you're not seeking it anyways. So just when it comes through, you're just like, oh, okay, got you, right? Um, but yeah, it doesn't really matter because you're not seeking like companionship in that way. You're not seeking like a brotherhood or anything of those things. Like that stuff always just rubs me the wrong way. These like brotherhood groups, um, these guys spending j- grown men, okay, grown men in like chats, like, oh, I'm on the chat with all these other dudes. Like, what? Why? So you like a bunch of males can hang out and like kind of cluck together like a bunch of hens. And I've entered some of them. I've been invited to come through. Like, oh yeah, you can come through and like share some of your thoughts, maybe help out a bunch of guys or whatever, or even a couple of guys. And I would just listen, just sit back and listen, or read what they're saying in these group chats. And I'm just like, what these do? This is bad. This is bad. Like broken guys, misguided guys, emotive guys should not all hang out together, because what you're going to do, and this is what we've seen in like the red pill community, what's become, is that you reinforce your own behaviors because there's no one around who doesn't speak your language, is saying, you guys all sound really fucked up right now. It's really bad for guys. Like birds of a broken feather should not hang out together. They should not flock together. Like if you're fucked up, don't hang out with other men who are also fucked up, because you're just going to reinforce your behaviors, because there's no one going to be there to fucking set anything straight. This never happened in the past. Like, it didn't happen. You didn't have a bunch of like losers congregating and reinforcing their bad behavior. It just didn't happen. But now, because of social media, it's like, oh yeah, we can connect. Let's share our experiences. Oh my gosh, I'm so red pill. Aren't you so red pill? Look at what my wife said. She made me sleep on the couch last night. She hasn't sucked my dick in 3 years. Oh my God, that's so bad. No one's calling anybody saying like, why? Is it because you're a fucking loser and your wife doesn't trust you and she doesn't respect you and you don't fucking do like, you don't create anything in your relationship? You're just there providing, right? You're providing money. It's not provision. I mean, it is on a surface level, but it doesn't make any impact. Oh my gosh, I did this provisioning for fucking 20 years and then she left me. It's just surface level provision. It's just survival stuff. It's logistics. Okay. And then they're like, women are emotional beings. So why didn't you engage her emotions, dumbass? Like you think like having a great job that's consistent for 20 years is emotionally engaging. If you know that women are emotional, then use emotional tools to engage emotions, right? You're not going to use a fucking screwdriver to take out a nail. It seems pretty logical, right? Like I thought men were the logical ones. Okay, use the right tools in the right context. Don't use fucking one tool and then expect it to work in all other areas. Like, well, I did all the right things. I was a good guy. I didn't beat her. I didn't rape her. I kept my career going, working fucking 10 hours a day, breaking my back, What do I have for it? A fucking divorce. She's so ungrateful. It's like, yeah, dude, your wife has been emotionally dead due to your lack of leadership and influence. Typically not because like you weren't like doing something, but mostly because you're just lost on yourself. And then she just was an emotional desert. And I'm not saying that you should go out of your way in order to create a non-emotional desert, okay? Because that means you are pandering, right? You're pandering to suit the woman so that bad outcomes don't happen. But that's not what we do here anyways, right? We don't do things for women. It's just how we are tends to produce full experiences for girls just by proxy. And then if you are doing anything deliberate, it's not so that there's an effect. that she likes me or so that she's bonded to me. That just so happens by way of me just creatively expressing myself, by way of me enjoying toying with her mind when it comes to tension and delayed gratification, when it comes to berating her or degrading her. These things, that's part of my creative expression. Oh, it just so happens that she really likes that. Oh, it just so happens she's falling further and further into my presence. So, yeah, it's not about doing it for their sake. It just happens to have that effect. But so I just hope you understand, like, they're the reactive beings that they are. If you don't produce certain stimuli, they're not going to react. If you do produce certain stimuli, they're going to react in kind. It's just how the women are. They're reactive creatures. They respond to stimuli, right? And often in ways that are involuntary, like the fucking rods and cones in your eye, or your pupil, right? Shine a light, closes right up. So girls very much are the same in that sense, where they're involuntary reactions, like on an emotional level and a subconscious and sometimes conscious level. They just can't help but not like you. They can't help but test you. They can't help but distance themselves, or they can't help but be drawn to you. They can't help but not think around you. They can't help but be horny around you. All of it is just like involuntary responses. And it's not going to happen because you've got a great job. I want you to have a great job, but you're not going to have those involuntary responses because of it, nor your muscles, nor your height, nor your face. Okay. But yes, you should have a decent job or create a decent business. Yes, you should take care of your body. Yes, you should have good hygiene. But for the sake of yourself, not so you can win the approval of pussy, right? Especially if you're just going to use them like fleshlights with a heartbeat. It's like, if you think they're just fleshlights with a heartbeat, then why are you trying to do all that shit? Why are you trying to look good? You trying to look good for a fleshlight? Why are you trying to work so hard? Get your money up so you can appeal to a fleshlight? Why are you trying to look smacks so you can appeal to a fleshlight? That's kind of weird, isn't it? That's strange. That's strange reasoning. Very strange reasoning. So that would tell me that since all those things you're doing is fairly difficult, has learning curves and grinding curves, that you actually don't regard them as fleshlights. You actually have greater meaning in there, greater attachment in there. And because if it was really something as meaningless and innocuous as a fleshlight, then you wouldn't do anything at all, right? There'd be no impressing, there'd be no working, there'd be no criticizing, there'd be almost no awareness, right? But there is extreme awareness, extreme tension. Not tension, attention, extreme attention, obsessive attention, obsessive attachment. Browser history for days on how to do this with girls, and this criticism of girls, and this dismantling of feminism, this argument with some chick on X that they've never met before. Just obsessive, connection with girls. It's like, dude, you need to get your mommy issues straight. Seek therapy if you have to. Because I can tell you what, like all the looks maxing, the mogging, the fucking what is it? Putting women that you don't know in their place in the chat of some post. That's not it. Just admit that you're broken. You're broken and misaligned. You need a chiropractor. You need help. You don't need a stronger jawline. You need help. You're misguided and broken. Some are just fractured. Some have a compound fracture. The bone is sticking straight out. And others are somewhere in between. But broken is broken. And then they're going to other guys who are just more famous than them, but in the same exact state, and regard them as authorities, and then follow the bullshit that they say. It fucking blows my mind. And not only do they follow what they say, they copy what they say. So not only are you following one of these dudes, but your identity is thinning out and is blending with theirs. It's actually, but they'll not be so bad if it was one guy, but it's multiples. So one dude is having his identity thinned out by the identities of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 other men males, say on YouTube as influencers who are also misguided, broken, blind to themselves. So they're allowing that to come in, which thins out their own identity. So they're becoming like just less of everything. So I'm going to leave you with this challenge because it's now 12:15 here in New York. Cut off social media, all of it, unless your work has to do with it, right? You're running a business, you have to monitor some shit. Maybe you can just, I don't know, tell somebody, say, hey man, like I'll hire you for however long I need. Just monitor this thing, do this. Like if you have to like manage a social media account because it's connected to a business of yours, fine. Okay. Totally get it. But if you don't, which is what most people, right? Most guys do not have a business that's connected to social media or that needs social media. My challenge to you is to turn it off, all of it, every single one. Do not come to my show. Do not come to anyone's show. Do not open YouTube, even to find out how to fucking screw in a light bulb or how to use a hammer. Okay, unless it's like some like dire thing. You're like, holy shit, I need this information right the fuck now. Okay, no AI, because I would consider that it's like solo social media. It reminds me of this term that I heard, solo polyamory. It's like, dude, that's just a fucking player. It's a bachelor. Solo polyamory. Complicating shit for no fucking reason at all. But cut it off, everything. TikTok, even like bullshit things like Kick, Snapchat, right? Even like these chat things where it's just chat, that's still like social media adjacent. Keep it to just regular text messages. Hey, if you need to send a message to people, say like, hey, I'm taking a break from social media. And my challenge for you um, is to see how long you can do it. See if you can do it for a week. Then if you see if you can do it for 2 weeks, see if you can do it for a month and a half, 2 months, right? Like how long can you stave things off? Now, what would help is to turn off notifications for the various apps because that's going to like draw you in, right? You've already been conditioned to be like, I see that little red circle. I need to press the fucking button. I got to press the button. Right? There's literally nothing on the other side. It's not like here's a guaranteed win of $1 million. It's yours. You got it, buddy. Right? It's not like long lost friends from high school sitting over there. Right? Like, holy shit, send you a message. I haven't seen you, John, in fucking 20 years. Right? There's nothing really of value sitting on the other side of that little red notification. There never is. It's not real value. Okay. So, but your brain is connected. It's like, oh, I don't need real value. I just need that little dopamine kick. I just need that little kick of dopamine. Come on, give me a little hit, a little sniff, right? Just a little bump. It's nothing dramatic. Don't need dramatic. I just need that little bump. So just see how long you can cut it off. Stick to just messaging, right? WhatsApp, text messaging. That's it. Telegram if you use that, or Signal, right? Just basic messaging, email. Internet if you need it, whatever, but no social media on any platform. Instagram, Facebook, Kick, what's it called? Snapchat, X. That's all that comes to my mind right now. Reddit, Substack, none of that shit. Okay? And just see how long you can do it. That's the challenge that I would like for you to put forth for yourself. All right. We got a nice even number. It's the 20th right now. It's the 20th because it's already, in the morning. So let's see if you can see how many days. If you want to drop me a line, tell me, right? You can go to the website, hit the contact button, and just let me know how many days you've gone. Okay. And it'll be great if I'm sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting for that message to hit my inbox. Because that'll tell me that, all right, well, either these guys are fucking lying, or they just don't want to contact me. There's that option too. They don't care to, and that's fine. Or they're lying, or they're actually doing it. Because no, you like just know this. You're not missing anything. Literally nothing. You're not missing out on anything. You're not gaining anything. Well, by holding off, you're actually gaining back some of your sanity. You're gaining back some of your consciousness. You're reclaiming some of your identity. But you gain nothing from consuming. Absolutely nothing. Oh, you gain back some of your dignity. Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to let you guys off on this one. I appreciate you joining me this time. And thank you for those who are watching on the replay. Appreciate you too. Go to the website, check out the stuff that I've got going on there. Tutorials, books, mentorship, other forms of coaching. I just put up, there's 2 new tutorials in there. And there's also a new BDSM kit that I made. So I combed through all of my materials. I put together the collection of documents and audios. Oh shit. That just reminded me. I have to edit the product and add in the visual aids. The Dom and sub charts. And What's up there, kitten? Didn't see you there. So, but yeah, so I've got this, it's like ultimate BDSM Dom kit. A lot of really good stuff in there. Basically, like step by step on like how to train a submissive from like the very beginning all the way through to um, like a full fledged slave, depending on like how far you want to take it. Um, but yeah, the description of what you get in there, it's all on there. So go check that out. It's under the coaching section, I believe. So any questions that you have, please just send me a message. I love getting messages from people, even if it's just a thank you. But if you have questions, you can send that as well. Just hit the contact button on the website. All right. Until next time, we'll see you on the flip side.